Glass shatters. A black woman slams against a boutique window, handcuffs biting into her wrists as mall shoppers gasp and pull out phones. The white officer snarls, "You're done stealing from honest people?" She meets his eyes with deadly calm. "I'm Captain Denise Carter, and you just ended your career." But before you find out what happens next, hit that subscribe button and drop your city in the comments so I can see how far this story of justice travels. Now let me tell you how one arrest sparked a war that exposed a conspiracy worth millions. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to stop right there. Denise Carter didn't stop. She'd been shopping in Greenwood Mall for 40 minutes, bought one book for her niece's birthday, and now she was leaving. The security guard's voice behind her meant nothing. She hadn't done anything wrong. "Ma'am, I said stop." She kept walking. The exit doors were 30 feet ahead, winter sunlight streaming through glass like freedom she could almost taste. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, probably her sister asking if she'd found the perfect gift. Yes, she'd text back. "Got the book. Coming home." A hand clamped on her shoulder. Denise spun around, training kicking in before thought. Assess the threat, create distance, keep hands visible. The guard was young, maybe 25, with sweat beading his forehead, despite the mall's air conditioning. Behind him, another guard spoke into a radio using codes Denise recognized from 15 years on the force. 10:15, possible theft. Subject leaving northwest exit. Her stomach dropped. "Take your hand off me," Denise said quietly. "Ma'am, we need you to come with us." "For what?" "We have reason to believe you've taken merchandise without paying." The words hit like a slap. Around them, shoppers slowed, turned, pulled out phones. That horrible instinct people had: record the disaster, help nobody. Denise felt their eyes cataloging her. Black woman, designer purse, winter coat that cost $300, guilty until proven innocent in minds already made up. "I bought one item. I have the receipt. I'm leaving." "We need to verify that." "Then verify it." "My receipt's in the bag. I purchased a book from Chapters 20 minutes ago. I haven't been in any other store." The second guard approached older, harder, with the dead-eyed look of someone who'd done this before. His name tag read Morrison. His radio kept crackling. "Subject detained, Northwest Corridor. Awaiting manager confirmation." "Detained." Denise's voice sharpened. "On what grounds?" "Ma'am, if you cooperate, this'll be quick and painless." "I am cooperating. I'm telling you I haven't stolen anything. Check your cameras." Morrison's jaw tightened. "Turn around. Hands where I can see them." "Excuse me?" "You heard me." The crowd grew. Phones multiplied like digital witnesses, recording everything, understanding nothing. Denise saw herself through their lenses, another black woman in trouble, another headline waiting to happen. She thought about compliance and resistance, about pride and survival, about her niece who wanted to be a lawyer because Aunt Denise proved black women could hold power. She thought about every time she'd told young officers, "Stay calm, follow protocol, don't escalate." "I'm not turning around," Denise said. "I'm exercising my Fourth Amendment right to refuse an unlawful search. If you have probable cause, articulate it. If you don't, I'm leaving." "We have a witness." "A witness to what?" A woman pushed through the crowd, white 50-something with hair sprayed into a helmet, and righteousness radiating like heat. Her name tag identified her as Patricia Holloway, manager, Nouveau Boutique. She pointed at Denise like she was identifying a killer. "That's her. I watched her take items from my store 15 minutes ago." The lie landed like a bomb. "I've never been in your store," Denise said. "You absolutely were. I saw you browsing the scarves, then I saw you put 2 in your purse and walk out." "What color were the scarves?" Patricia blinked. "What?" "If you watched me steal them, tell me what color they were." "Red. Red and gold." "Open my purse. Look inside. You won't find any scarves because I didn't take them." "You probably ditched them when you realized I was onto you." The accusation was so absurd, so perfectly constructed to be unprovable, that Denise almost laughed. Almost. But she saw the trap. Deny it, they'd search her. Prove her innocent, they'd claim she'd hidden the evidence. Black woman's word against white manager's certainty. The math never worked in her favor. "Check your security footage," Denise said. "You'll see I never entered your store." Patricia's smile flickered just for a heartbeat, but Denise caught it. That micro-expression of someone who'd gambled and wasn't sure about their hand anymore. "The cameras in that section are being serviced." "How convenient." "Are you calling me a liar?" "I'm saying you're mistaken, and I'm saying I'm leaving." Denise turned toward the exit. Made it 2 steps. Morrison grabbed her arm, yanked her back. The crowd gasped. Phones tilted for better angles. Somewhere someone whispered, "World Star." "Let go of me." Denise's voice stayed level despite adrenaline screaming through her veins. "You're not going anywhere. You're assaulting me. I'm detaining a shoplifter." Based on an uncorroborated claim from a witness with no evidence. That's not detention. That's harassment. Patricia stepped closer, emboldened. "I know what I saw. You people always think you can just take what you want. You people." Denise's eyes locked onto the manager's face. "Finish that sentence, please." Patricia's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. The crowd leaned in hungry for the words everyone knew were coming. "Law-abiding citizens," Patricia said finally, the replacement slipping out too quickly to be anything but rehearsed. "You people who break the law think you're above consequences." "I haven't broken any laws." "Then you won't mind proving it." "I don't have to prove innocence. You have to prove guilt. That's how this country works." Morrison's radio crackled again. A new voice, sharp and authoritative. "Do we need police response?" "Affirmative," Morrison said. "Subject is non-compliant and increasingly hostile." "I'm standing here talking," Denise said. "That's hostile. You're refusing lawful commands." "Your commands aren't lawful. You have no evidence, no footage, and a witness who can't even describe what she claims I stole. This is racial profiling." The words hung in the air like smoke. The crowd shifted, uncomfortable. Patricia's face flushed red. "How dare you? This has nothing to do with race." "Doesn't it?" "How many white women have you accused this week? I don't see color. I see criminals. And when you look at me, you see a criminal. Wonder why that is?" "Because you stole from my store." "Prove it." The standoff stretched. Morrison's hand hovered near his pepper spray. The young guard looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. Patricia's confidence wavered, then hardened into something uglier, the certainty of someone who'd never been challenged, never been wrong, never had to question the reality they created. "Police are en route," Morrison said. "They'll sort this out." Denise felt time slow down. She could end this now. Could show her badge watch their faces drain of color, walk away vindicated. But something stopped her. Maybe the way Patricia smiled like she'd already won. Maybe the phone's recording capturing this moment for whatever it would become. Maybe the memory of every black person who'd complied and died anyway. She wanted to see how far they'd take it. Wanted evidence of exactly what this system did when nobody in power was watching. "Then call them," Denise said quietly. "Let's see what the police do with your evidence-free accusation." Patricia pulled out her phone, dialed, turned away to speak in urgent whispers. Morrison kept his grip on Denise's arm. The young guard shifted nervously. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "if you just show us the receipt, we can clear this up." "I already offered. Your manager didn't want to see it. She wants a spectacle." "I'm just trying to..." "Do your job. Then do it right. Ask questions. Review footage that isn't mysteriously broken. Investigate instead of assume. That's your job." His face flushed. He looked away. Denise counted the phones. 15, maybe 20. All recording. All uploading to clouds that would preserve this moment forever. She thought about virality, about hashtags, about how the internet turned human suffering into entertainment. But she also thought about evidence, about accountability, about the camera being the only witness that couldn't be bullied into silence. She looked directly into the nearest phone and spoke clearly. "My name is Denise Carter. I am being detained in Greenwood Mall by security guards and a boutique manager who claim I stole merchandise. I did not. I have my receipt. They refused to check it. They refused to review security footage. They called the police based on zero evidence. I want everyone watching to see how this ends." The man holding the phone nodded, kept recording. Patricia whirled around. "You can't do that. This is private property." "Then arrest me for filming," the man said. "Go ahead." Morrison's radio erupted with static. "Unit responding. ETA 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Denise breathed slowly, evenly. Her training screamed a dozen protocols at her. Identify yourself, de-escalate, assert authority. But she'd spent 15 years watching officers like Morrison operate. Watched them brutalize citizens, falsify reports, protect each other. The blue wall, they called it. The family. The code. She'd never been part of that family. Never wanted to be. She wanted to burn it down. The crowd parted. 2 police officers walked through, one older, one younger, both carrying the swagger of people who'd never questioned their right to be obeyed. The older one was built like a linebacker, with a neck that merged directly into his shoulders and eyes that swept the scene with practiced dismissal. His name tag read, Rains. Denise recognized him immediately. Sergeant James Rains, 22 years on the force. 17 complaints, all dismissed. Known for aggressive arrests, for seeing threats everywhere, for the kind of policing that treated civilians like enemy combatants. She'd reviewed his file once when considering him for a task force position. She'd rejected him immediately. Now he stood in front of her, sizing her up like a problem to be solved through force. "That's her," Patricia said, rushing over. "She stole from my boutique and she's been hostile and threatening." Threatening? Denise's eyebrows rose. "I haven't threatened anyone." Rains looked her up and down, his gaze lingering in a way that made her skin crawl. "Ma'am, I'm Officer Rains. I need you to show me what's in your bag." "Why?" "We have a report of shoplifting." "From a witness with no evidence." "I didn't steal anything. I have my receipt. I'm happy to show it to you." "Then show me the bag." "The bag has my personal belongings. You need probable cause to search it." His jaw tightened. The younger officer, Chen, according to his tag, hung back with the uncertain expression of someone who sensed this wasn't right. "Ma'am, a store manager reported theft. That's probable cause." "No, it's an allegation, unsubstantiated. She can't describe what I allegedly took. Your security footage is conveniently broken, and I have a receipt proving I only purchased from one store. That's not probable cause. That's a fishing expedition. I'm not here to debate law with you." "Then maybe you should have paid more attention in training." The crowd sucked in a collective breath. Rains's face darkened. "Excuse me. I said you should know the law before you enforce it. Fourth Amendment protects me from unreasonable search and seizure. You have no warrant. You have no evidence. You have an accusation from someone who can't support their claim. That's not enough. You a lawyer? I'm a citizen who knows her rights. Citizen who's about to be arrested for obstruction. Obstruction of what I'm standing here talking to you. I haven't run, haven't fought, haven't done anything but refuse an illegal search." Patricia interjected, voice shrill. "She's being difficult on purpose. I saw her steal." "What did I steal?" Denise turned to face her directly. "Describe it. Color, fabric, size, price. You watched me do it right, so describe it." Patricia's mouth worked like a fish drowning in air. "It was scarves. Red and gold scarves." "From which display?" The one by the entrance." "Your boutique has 3 entrances. Which one?" "I don't have to answer your questions, but I have to answer yours." "Interesting how that works." Rains stepped between them, hand dropping to his belt where his handcuffs hung. "That's enough. Ma'am, you're going to open that bag right now, or I'm placing you under arrest. For exercising my constitutional rights. For obstruction, for creating a disturbance, for resisting a lawful order. None of those orders are lawful, and you know it. His hand moved to the cuffs. Chen stepped forward hesitant. Sir, maybe we should check her receipt first. If she bought something from another store. I said we're done talking. Rains grabbed Denise's arm. Turn around, hands behind your back. The crowd's murmur intensified. Phones pressed closer. Denise felt the moment crystallize the point where compliance might save her, or resistance might kill her. She thought about Eric Garner saying, "I can't breathe" 11 times. About Sandra Bland dying in a cell after a traffic stop. About Breonna Taylor sleeping in her bed. About every black person who'd done everything right and died anyway. She turned around slowly, hands visible, movements deliberate. "You're making a mistake," she said. "Save it for the judge." Metal bit into her wrists, cold, tight, humiliating. The crowd gasped. Someone shouted, "This is wrong." Someone else filmed closer, narrating for their viewers. "They're arresting her for nothing, y'all. She didn't even do anything." Rains jerked her arms back harder than necessary. Denise's shoulder screamed, but she didn't make a sound. Wouldn't give him the satisfaction. "You have the right to remain silent," he started. "I know my rights better than you do. Anything you say can and will be used against you, including the fact that you arrested me without probable cause. That'll be fun in court." His grip tightened. "Keep talking. Make this worse for yourself." Chen touched his partner's shoulder. "Sir, shouldn't we at least—" "Back off, Chen. I've got this." "But she has a receipt. If we just look at it." "I said back off." The younger officer retreated, face troubled. Denise caught his eye, saw the conflict there. He knew this was wrong. Knew it, and did nothing because the brotherhood mattered more than justice. She'd remember that face. Rains pushed her toward the boutique. Patricia held the door open, triumph painted across her features like war paint. "Finally," the manager breathed. "Thank you, officer. People like her think they can just—" "People like me." Denise stopped walking. "Say it. Finish that sentence." "I don't have to explain myself to you." "No, but you'll explain yourself to a judge when I sue you for false arrest, defamation, and violating my civil rights." Patricia's smile faltered. "You can't sue me. I was protecting my store. From what a paying customer will let a jury decide." They shoved her into the back office, cramped, cluttered with inventory and prejudice. Rains forced her into a chair. Morrison stood guard at the door. Patricia hovered like a vulture waiting for vindication. "Empty your pockets," Rains ordered. "Everything on the table." Denise complied because she had nothing to hide. Phone face down so they couldn't see the lock screen photo of her in uniform with the commissioner. Keys including the one to her office at headquarters. Wallet containing the ID and badge that would end this farce. The birthday card she'd already signed, "To my brilliant niece. Never let anyone make you small. Love, Aunt D." Rains grabbed her purse, dumped it out. Lip balm, hand sanitizer, tampons that he recoiled from like they were grenades, loose receipts, gum, Advil, a protein bar, nothing from the boutique, nothing stolen, nothing that justified any of this. The silence stretched like taffy. "Where is it?" Patricia demanded. "There's nothing to find," Denise said calmly. "Because I didn't take anything." Chen picked through the items, clearly not finding whatever he'd been told to expect. "Sir, there's no merchandise here." "She ditched it," Patricia insisted. "Check her again. Check her coat, her pockets, everything." "I already emptied my pockets." "Do it," Rains said. "That's a strip search. You need a female officer and a warrant." "It's not a strip search if you're clothed." "It's still illegal." "I'm done arguing with you." He grabbed her coat, started patting her down with rough hands that lingered longer than necessary. Denise kept her face neutral, kept her breathing steady, kept counting the seconds until she could destroy him. Nothing. No scarves, no evidence, no justification for any of this. Patricia's confidence cracked. She must have hidden them somewhere. Check the bathroom stalls, check the trash cans. Or, Chen said quietly, she's telling the truth. She's lying. I know what I saw. Then show us on the security footage, Denise said. I told you the cameras are broken. How convenient. The one day you accuse someone of theft, your cameras don't work. What are the odds? Patricia's face flushed. Are you implying I'm lying? I'm stating facts. You claimed you watched me steal. You can't describe what I took. You have no video evidence, no physical evidence, nothing but your word against mine, and you still called the police. Because I know what I saw. You saw a black woman shopping and assumed she was stealing. That's called racial profiling. That's called bias. That's called illegal. How dare you? How dare I what? Point out the truth. You didn't see me steal anything because I didn't steal anything. But you saw my skin color and decided I must be a criminal. That's on you. Rain slammed his hand on the desk. Enough, both of you. Sir, Chen said again. Maybe we should verify her story. Call the bookstore, check her receipt timing. We're taking her downtown. Let the detectives sort it out. On what charge? Denise asked. You've searched me, found nothing. Your complainant has no evidence. What am I being arrested for? Disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, obstruction. I haven't resisted anything. I complied with your illegal search. I'm sitting here in handcuffs. Where's the resistance? You refused to cooperate with security. I refused an illegal search. That's my right. We'll let the DA decide. Denise felt the trap close. They'd gone too far to admit they were wrong. Pride became poison. Ego became handcuffs. The system protected itself by destroying anyone who challenged it. She'd seen it 1,000 times. Never thought she'd be the victim. Officer Rains, she said quietly. Before you make this monumentally worse for yourself, I strongly suggest you look at my ID very carefully. He smirked. Trying to intimidate me now. You got a famous lawyer, a politician uncle. Just look at the ID. I don't take orders from suspects. Then you're going to regret this for the rest of your very short career. Something in her tone made him hesitate, made Chen reach for her wallet where it lay on the table, made Morrison shift nervously by the door, made Patricia's triumph curdle into uncertainty. Chen opened the wallet, found the driver's license, found the police union card behind it, found the badge beneath that gold heavy engraved with words that changed everything. Captain Denise Carter, Metro Police Department. Badge number 0147. The color drained from Chen's face like someone pulled a plug. Oh God! What? Rains snatched the badge, stared at it like it was written in hieroglyphics. Sir, she's a captain. She's Captain Carter. The office went silent. Patricia made a sound like a small animal dying. Morrison's eyes went wide as dinner plates. Rains just stood there, badge in hand, career crumbling in real time. You're a police captain, Denise finished. Third in command of Metro PD. And you just handcuffed me, searched me without cause, and arrested me based on a false accusation from a witness with zero evidence, in front of approximately 23 cameras. How do you think that's going to look on the news, Sergeant Rains? His face cycled through colors: shock, white; rage, red; fear, gray. He looked at Chen, at Patricia, at the door where freedom used to be. I didn't know. Would it matter if I wasn't? Denise's voice cut like a scalpel. Does every black woman need a badge to be treated like a human being? Should I have led with my rank so you'd know I deserved basic dignity? Captain Carter, this is a misunderstanding. No, this is racial profiling. This is unlawful detention. This is assault. This is everything I've spent 15 years fighting against, and you just did it to me. To your superior officer. On camera. During your shift. With witnesses. Patricia tried to back toward the door. I was just trying to protect my store? From what? Denise's eyes locked onto her. From a customer with a receipt. From a woman shopping legally, or from a black woman existing in a space you decided she didn't belong. I thought I saw. You thought wrong. And instead of verifying, instead of checking, instead of doing the bare minimum of investigation, you called the police on someone who'd done nothing but shop while black. Do you do this often, Ms. Holloway? I don't. How many black women have you accused this month, this year? How many times have these cameras been conveniently broken when you needed evidence? Patricia's mouth worked silently. No good answers. No way to spin this that didn't sound exactly like what it was. Denise turned back to Rains. Uncuff me. Now. His hands shook as he fumbled with the key. The cuffs clicked open. Denise rubbed her wrists, where red marks already bloomed like evidence. Captain, I apologize. You apologize. You think sorry fixes this. You arrested your superior officer because a white woman pointed, and you believed her without question. What does that say about your judgment, about your training, about every other arrest you've made? Chen looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him. Ma'am, if we'd known... You shouldn't need to know. Every citizen deserves the same treatment I'm demanding right now. But we both know that's not how this works, don't we, Officer Chen? We both know you saw this was wrong and said nothing, because Sergeant Rains is your training officer, and the brotherhood matters more than justice. The younger officer flinched like she'd slapped him. Denise gathered her belongings slowly, deliberately. Phone she'd have to check how many times the commissioner called. Keys. Her hands were shaking now, adrenaline crash hitting. Wallet she'd keep that badge visible from now on, wear it like armor against a world that saw her skin before her humanity. Morrison cleared his throat. Captain, for what it's worth. It's worth nothing. You grabbed me. You called me hostile for exercising my rights. You participated in every second of this. We were just doing our jobs. Your job is to protect and serve, not to harass and humiliate, not to assume guilt based on skin color, not to blindly follow orders you know are wrong. She turned to Patricia. And you, I want your full name, your corporate contact information, and the name of whoever owns this mall. I don't have to give you anything. You're right, you don't. But when my lawyer serves you with papers for false accusation, defamation, civil rights violations, and emotional distress, you'll wish you'd cooperated. When the news channels run this story, when the cameras outside replay your greatest hits, when your store becomes synonymous with racism, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember the choice you made. Patricia's face collapsed. Please, I was just mistaken. You were just racist. Own it. Denise walked to the door, paused with her hand on the handle. 4 people stood frozen behind her, careers dissolving like sugar in acid. Here's what happens next, she said without turning around. I'm leaving. I'm going home. Tomorrow I'm celebrating my niece's 11th birthday and telling her that even when you do everything right, sometimes the system still fails you. And Monday morning, I'm filing formal complaints that will burn through this department like wildfire. Sergeant Rains, you'll be suspended pending investigation. Morrison, you're fired. Private security doesn't get qualified immunity. Ms. Holloway, I'd suggest you lawyer up. And Officer Chen. The young cop looked up terrified. You had a chance to do the right thing. You saw this was wrong and stayed silent. Remember that. Remember how easy it was to watch injustice happen and do nothing. Because that's how good cops become bad cops. One silent moment at a time. She pulled the door open. The crowd surged forward, questions, cameras, demands for answers, for statements, for the truth they'd all witnessed, but needed her to confirm. Denise walked through them like Moses parting the Red Sea. Head high, dignity intact, fury burning cold enough to freeze hell. Behind her she heard Rains on his radio voice shaking. Cancel that transport. Subject released. No charges. Repeat, no charges. But Denise knew better. The charges were just beginning. Not against her. Against everyone who thought a badge would protect them from accountability. against every system that made this possible, against the comfortable lie that racism was individual prejudice instead of structural violence. A reporter caught up with her in the parking lot. "Captain Carter, can you comment on what just happened?" Denise stopped, turned, looked directly into the camera. "I was racially profiled, falsely accused, and unlawfully arrested by people who saw my skin before they saw my humanity. I'm a police captain with 15 years of service and it didn't matter. My badge didn't protect me. My rank didn't save me. My knowledge of the law didn't stop them. If this can happen to me, imagine what happens to everyone without power, without a platform, without protection. That's the story. That's what needs to change." She walked away before they could ask more questions, before the adrenaline crash could make her cry, before the rage could crack her professional mask. Her phone buzzed. 37 missed calls, 62 texts. 3 from the commissioner, all saying the same thing. "Call me immediately." Denise got in her car, locked the doors, and let her hands shake. Let the tears come. Let the fury and fear and exhaustion wash over her in waves that threatened to drown her. Then she started the engine and drove home, because tomorrow was her niece's birthday, and that little girl deserved to see her aunt smile, deserved to believe justice was possible, deserved a world better than this one. But Denise's phone kept buzzing, kept lighting up with notifications, kept showing her the video that was already viral, 2 million views and climbing. Her arrest, her humiliation, her badge reveal. The moment Rain's face went white. And comments. Thousands of comments. Some supportive. This is what systemic racism looks like. Some vicious. She probably stole something and used her badge to get out of it. Some conspiratorial. Why would a captain be shopping alone? Sounds fake. But one comment buried in the noise made her blood run cold. You just made powerful enemies. Captain Carter should have taken the easy way out. The account was anonymous, created that day. No profile picture, no history. Denise screenshot the comment, forwarded it to her lawyer friend Carla with a simple message, "We need to talk. Tonight." Because she'd spent 15 years in law enforcement and she recognized a threat when she saw one. The arrest wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something much bigger, much darker, much more dangerous than she'd realized. As she pulled into her driveway, she noticed a car parked across the street. Tinted windows. Engine running. Watching her house. Denise grabbed her phone, pulled up her security app, checked her cameras. Front door, back door, all clear. But her instincts, honed by a decade and a half of investigating crimes the system wanted to ignore, screamed that something was wrong. She texted Carla again. "How fast can you get here?" The response came immediately. 30 minutes. What's wrong? Everything. Bring your laptop. This is bigger than racial profiling. Because Denise had spent the whole arrest wondering why Patricia seemed so confident despite zero evidence, why the cameras were conveniently broken, why Rains had been so aggressive over a simple shoplifting call, why Morrison had grabbed her so quickly, like he'd done this before, like he'd been waiting for her. And that anonymous comment, "should have taken the easy way out," implied there was an easy way. Implied this was a choice she'd made. Implied someone had expected her to do something different. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Denise almost didn't answer. But captains don't hide from threats. "Carter?" Heavy breathing. Then a voice, distorted, mechanical. "You should have kept your mouth shut. You should have walked away. Now people are asking questions. Now there are problems. This is your last warning." Who is this? Someone who's been doing this long before you got that badge. Someone who'll be doing it long after yours is taken away. Walk away, Captain. Forget what happened. Accept the apology. Move on. Or what happens next won't be caught on camera. The line went dead. Denise sat in her car in her driveway watching the house she'd bought with 15 years of hard work and realized something that made her stomach drop. The arrest wasn't random. It was a message. And she'd just declared war on people who played for keeps. Carla arrived in 23 minutes laptop bag slung over her shoulder and the sharp-eyed focus of a civil rights attorney who'd heard the urgency in Denise's voice. She'd been Denise's best friend since law school, back when Denise thought she'd be a lawyer too, before she realized she could do more good with a badge than a briefcase. Carla had laughed at that logic then, wasn't laughing now. "Tell me everything," Carla said, settling at Denise's kitchen table. "And I mean everything. The arrest, the threat, why you look like you're about to burn the whole city down." Denise poured 2 glasses of wine she had no intention of drinking and laid it out. The mall. The accusation. Patricia's confidence despite 0 evidence. The broken cameras. Rain's aggression. Morrison's practiced efficiency. The viral video hitting 2 million views. The anonymous comment. The phone call with the distorted voice. The car across the street that had disappeared the moment Carla's headlights swept the neighborhood. "They knew who I was," Denise said. "They had to. That arrest wasn't random incompetence. It was deliberate." "You think they targeted you specifically? A police captain?" "I think they target black shoppers regularly, and I happen to be one. But the speed, the coordination, the way Patricia refused to back down, even when it was obvious she had nothing that felt practiced, rehearsed, like this was a system, not an incident." Carla opened her laptop, fingers already flying across the keyboard. "Okay. Let's test that theory. If Greenwood Mall is systematically targeting black shoppers, there'll be patterns, arrest records, complaints, lawsuits. Pull everything from the past 2 years. Focus on shoplifting charges that got dropped or resulted in plea deals. Look for disparities in who gets arrested versus who gets warnings." "Already on it." Carla's screen filled with court records pulling data from databases she'd spent years learning to navigate. "And while this runs, you're going to tell me why you're really scared. Because the Denise Carter I know doesn't get rattled by some anonymous coward making threats." Denise hesitated, took a breath. That voice said, "Should have taken the easy way out." Like there was an option I didn't choose. Like someone expected me to do something different. Different how? Walk away quietly, accept an apology, not make waves. That's what he meant, right? Keep my mouth shut, forget it happened, move on. But why would they expect me to do that unless they've done it before and people stayed silent? Carla's eyes sharpened. Jesus, you think there are other victims who were paid off, threatened into silence? Or worse, what if some of them took plea deals? What if innocent people are sitting in jail or on probation because Greenwood Mall has a quota to fill? Quota for what malls don't get paid for arrests. No, but private probation companies do. The words landed like a grenade. Carla stopped typing. "Say that again." Private probation. It's legal in 17 states. Companies contract with courts to supervise people on probation. They collect fees, sometimes hundreds per month. If you can't pay, you go to jail. If you miss an appointment, you go to jail. It's a debtor's prison with a corporate logo. And you think Greenwood Mall is feeding people into that system? I think someone is. The question is who and why and how deep this goes. Carla's laptop beeped. Search results loaded. Her face went pale. "D, you need to see this." Denise moved behind her, reading over her shoulder. The numbers told a story that made her blood run cold. In the past 18 months, Greenwood Mall had filed 127 shoplifting complaints with Metro PD. Of those, 94 involved black defendants. 78%. In a city where black residents made up 31% of the population. "That's not implicit bias," Carla whispered. "That's targeting." Keep going. How many resulted in convictions? 47. But here's where it gets interesting. Look at the plea deals. Denise scanned the data. 41 of the 47 convictions had resulted in plea agreements, probation instead of jail time, fines and fees, supervision by Summit Probation Services. Denise read aloud. "Never heard of them." They're new. Incorporated 14 months ago. 3 guesses who owns them. Carla pulled up corporate records. The ownership structure was buried under layers of LLCs and shell companies, but the trail led back to a name that made Denise's stomach drop. Greenwood Properties LLC, the same company that owns the mall. They're arresting people in their own mall and funneling them into their own probation company. Carla's voice shook with rage. It's a closed loop, a profit machine. Arrest someone for shoplifting, real or fake, doesn't matter. Charge them. Offer a plea deal that sounds better than jail. Put them on probation with Summit. Collect fees every month. If they can't pay, violate them and start over. How much money are we talking about? Carla did the math. Average probation fee is $250 a month. 47 people on probation, average term 18 months. That's $211,000. Denise felt sick. They're making $200,000 by criminalizing shoppers. And that's just the probation fees. What about the fines, court costs? The plea deals probably included restitution to the mall for merchandise that was never actually stolen. Denise grabbed her phone, started texting. I need to talk to someone who took a plea. Someone who can tell me what really happened. You have a source. I have 47 names. One of them will talk. But before she could scroll through the list, her phone rang. Commissioner Williams, her boss, the man who'd promoted her to captain 3 years ago and told her to clean up the department from the inside. She answered. Sir, Captain Carter, I've been trying to reach you for 6 hours. I've been dealing with the aftermath of being unlawfully arrested by one of our officers. I saw the video, along with 3 million other people. My phone hasn't stopped ringing. The mayor wants a statement. The press wants an interview. Internal Affairs wants your formal complaint. And I want to know what the hell happened in that mall. Denise took a breath, chose her words carefully. Sir, I believe what happened to me is part of a larger pattern of systematic racial profiling and false arrests designed to funnel innocent people into a for-profit probation scheme. Silence. Long enough that Denise thought the call had dropped. That's a serious allegation. I have data to support it. 127 arrests in 18 months. 78% black defendants in a 31% black city. 41 plea deals, all supervised by a probation company owned by the same entity that owns the mall. It's not an allegation, sir. It's math. Send me everything you have. I will. But I need something from you first. Name it. Assign me to investigate. Officially. Give me a small task force access to arrest records and protection from whoever threatened me tonight. Another pause. Someone threatened you. Anonymous call. Distorted voice. Told me to walk away or what happens next won't be caught on camera. This goes deeper than a few racist security guards, Commissioner. Someone's making serious money off this system, and they're willing to protect it. I'll have a protective detail at your house within the hour. But Denise, if you're right about this, you're about to make enemies in very high places. Are you prepared for that? Sir, I was prepared the moment they put handcuffs on me. Good, because the mayor's already calling this a misunderstanding. Says Officer Raines made an honest mistake, that there's no evidence of racial bias, that we should all move forward in the spirit of healing and understanding. The mayor's covering for them. The mayor's up for re-election in 8 months, and Greenwood Properties donated $100,000 to his campaign last year. So yes, he's covering for them. Which means you're not just investigating a mall. You're investigating the people who own this city. Denise felt the weight settle on her shoulders. Then I guess I better get started. She hung up. Carla was staring at her with something between admiration and horror. You just declared war on the mayor. I declared war on a system. He just happens to be part of it. If the mayor's involved, if his donors are running this scheme, they have resources. Lawyers, politicians, judges. They can destroy you. They can try. Carla closed her laptop, looked at Denise with the fierce loyalty of someone who'd stood beside her through a decade of battles. Okay, then let's burn it down properly. You need more than data. You need witnesses, people willing to go on record about what happened to them. The probationers will be terrified. One word to Summit, and they'll be violated, sent to jail. We need someone brave enough to risk it. Or someone angry enough not to care about consequences. Denise thought about the list of names. 47 people who'd been chewed up by this machine. 47 stories of injustice waiting to be told. I'll start making calls tomorrow. Tonight I need to figure out why they targeted me specifically. Because if this was just random chance, if I just happened to be another black woman shopping, fine. But my gut says different. Your gut's usually right. My gut says someone wanted to send me a message, wanted to show me what they can do. Maybe I was getting too close to something. Maybe I was asking the wrong questions. Maybe... Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Check your niece's school, now. Denise's blood turned to ice. No. What? She was already calling her sister, phone pressed to her ear, heart hammering against her ribs. Pick up, Maya. Pick up, pick up, pick up. Hey, sis. I was just about to call you back. Where's Jasmine? Upstairs doing homework. Why? What's wrong? Lock your doors, set the alarm, don't let her out of your sight. Denise, you're scaring me. Someone just threatened her. Someone knows where she goes to school. I'm on my way. She grabbed her keys. Carla was already closing her laptop, grabbing her bag. I'm coming with you. They were out the door in seconds, Denise's hands steady on the wheel, but her mind racing through scenarios that got worse with every mile. Whoever was behind this wasn't just threatening her career. They were threatening her family. The one line she'd never let anyone cross. Her phone rang again. Another unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. I told you to walk away. Same distorted voice. Same mechanical menace. Your niece is 11. Attends Riverside Elementary. Gets dropped off at 7:45 every morning. Walks home with her friend Keisha on Tuesdays. Has ballet on Thursdays. Such a sweet little girl. Would be a shame if something happened to her. You touch her, and I will end you. You'll do nothing, because you're a cop and cops follow rules. We don't. We own the rules. We own the judges who enforce them. We own the politicians who write them. You're one woman with a badge that means nothing. Walk away, Captain Carter. This is your last chance. Or what? You'll hurt a child. You'll prove exactly what kind of monsters you are. We'll prove that nobody's untouchable. Not you, not your family, not anyone who gets in our way. We've been building this for years. You think one viral video changes anything? We'll bury you. We'll destroy your credibility. We'll find every mistake you've ever made and plaster it across every news channel. And if that doesn't work... The line went dead. Denise pulled into her sister's driveway too fast, tires screeching. Maya was at the door before Denise made it up the steps, eyes wide with fear. What's happening? I can't explain right now. I just need to know you're safe. Jasmine appeared behind her mother, confusion, replacing the birthday excitement that had been there this morning. Aunt Dee, are you okay? Denise pulled her into a hug, breathing in the smell of strawberry shampoo and childhood innocence that these monsters had dared to threaten. I'm fine, baby. I just wanted to see you. Mom said someone threatened me. Is that true? 11 years old and already too smart for comfortable lies. Maya had raised her to be sharp, aware, unafraid, all the things black girls needed to survive in a world designed to break them. Someone's trying to scare me, Denise said carefully, but I'm not going to let them, and I'm going to make sure you're protected. Protected how? The commissioner's sending officers to watch your house. They'll keep you safe while I figure this out. Figure what out? Maya stepped in. Jasmine, honey, why don't you go finish your homework? Aunt Dee and I need to talk. The girl looked between them with eyes that saw too much. This is about what happened at the mall, isn't it? I saw the video. Everyone saw it. They arrested you for nothing. They made a mistake. They're racist. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Denise felt something crack in her chest. Her niece, brilliant, fierce, unbroken, shouldn't have to understand this yet. Shouldn't have to know that skin color could be a crime, that justice was a lottery, that the world would judge her before she opened her mouth. "You're right," Denise said. "It is a choice. And I'm choosing to fight back. But that means some people might try to hurt the people I love to make me stop. So I need you to be careful. Stay with your mom. Don't go anywhere alone, and if anyone approaches you, anyone you don't know. I call 911 and I run. I know Aunt Dee, you've been teaching me this stuff since I was 6. Good girl." Jasmine hugged her again, then headed upstairs. Denise watched her go, memorizing the sight braids, bouncing notebook clutched to her chest, future bright ahead of her. A future Denise would burn the world to protect. Maya pulled her into the kitchen, voice low and furious. "Tell me everything. Now." Denise did. The arrest, the data, the probation scheme, the threats. Maya listened with the intensity of an investigative journalist who'd spent 15 years exposing corruption for the Metro Herald. By the time Denise finished, her sister was pacing. "This is huge. This is Pulitzer-level huge. A for-profit scheme targeting black shoppers, owned by the same people who own the mall, with connections to the Mayor D. If I can prove this, no." "What do you mean, no?" "I mean these people just threatened Jasmine. I mean they have resources and connections and zero hesitation to hurt children. I mean you're staying out of this." Maya stopped pacing, turned to face her sister with a look that Denise had seen 1,000 times, stubborn determination that had gotten Maya fired from 3 newspapers for refusing to kill stories, that had gotten her sued twice for defamation, that had made her one of the best investigative reporters in the city. "Denise Carter, I love you, but you don't get to tell me what stories I write, especially when they threaten my daughter, especially when they involve systemic racism and corruption. This is literally why I became a journalist. And if something happens to you, if they what? Kill me, then you'll have a martyred journalist on your hands and even more public attention. These people operate in shadows. Light destroys them. So let me do what I do best, shine a light so bright they can't hide." Carla, who'd been silent until now, spoke up. "She's right. You need media coverage. You need public pressure. The more people who know about this, the harder it is for them to make you disappear." "I don't want my family in danger." "We're already in danger," Maya said. "The moment you got arrested, the moment you decided to fight back, we became targets. So we might as well make it count. Let me investigate. Let me talk to the probationers you're going to interview. Let me build a story that destroys these people. And when it's ready, when we have everything we need, I'll publish it and watch their empire collapse." Denise looked at her sister, fierce, brilliant, unbreakable, and saw herself reflected back. 2 black women refusing to be silent, refusing to accept injustice, refusing to protect the powerful at the expense of the vulnerable. "Okay," Denise said, "but we do this carefully. We document everything. We protect our sources. And at the first sign that Jasmine's in real danger, we get her somewhere safe. I already have a plan. My ex-husband's parents live in Atlanta. They'd take her for a few weeks if needed." "Good, because these people aren't bluffing." Her phone buzzed. Text from the Commissioner Protective Detail en route. Should arrive in 10 minutes. Also checked Officer Rain's file. 17 complaints, all dismissed by his captain. Want to guess who his captain is? Denise felt her stomach drop. Who Captain Marcus Webb? Who sits on the board of directors for Greenwood Properties, LLC? The pieces clicked into place like a puzzle revealing a monster. Rains wasn't just a racist cop. He was a protected cop. Protected by a captain who had financial interest in the very company profiting from false arrests. "They've been doing this for over a year," Denise said aloud. "Arresting black shoppers, falsifying reports, forcing plea deals. And Captain Webb's been protecting the officers involved because he profits from every probationer Summit gets. How much does he make? Carla asked. Denise didn't know, but she'd find out. She texted the commissioner need Webb's financial disclosure forms. And I want him suspended pending investigation. Already done. He's on administrative leave as of 20 minutes ago. Made some noise about it being retaliation for Raines arresting you. Let him make noise. The evidence will speak louder. She pocketed her phone as 2 unmarked cars pulled up outside. 4 officers emerged, 2 she recognized from her own precinct, 2 from internal affairs. Good people. Honest people. The kind of cops who'd become cops to actually help. Officer Sarah Chen, no relation to the Chen who'd stood silently while Raines arrested her, approached with professional sympathy. Captain Carter, we're here to provide security for your sister and niece. I want you to know what happened to you today was wrong. And a lot of us are ready to help make it right. I appreciate that, Officer Chen. Also words spreading through the department. About the data you found. About Summit probation. About Captain Webb. There are a lot of cops who've been uncomfortable with the arrest rates at Greenwood but didn't have enough to question it. Now they do. You're not alone in this. Denise felt something loosen in her chest. Thank you. No, thank you. For not backing down. For showing us what real leadership looks like. Maya opened the door, letting the officers inside to set up their security protocols. Denise watched them work, watched her sister ask sharp questions about response times and threat assessment. Watched Jasmine peek around the corner with wide eyes and 100 questions. Denise would answer someday when this was over. Carla touched her arm. We should go. You need rest, and I need to start building the legal case. We're filing civil suits against everyone, Raines Morrison, Patricia Holloway, Greenwood Properties, Summit Probation, and Captain Webb. That'll take months. Good thing we're starting now. They left Maya's house with promises to call every hour, to check in constantly, to stay vigilant. The drive back to Denise's place was silent, both women processing the magnitude of what they were up against. When Carla pulled into Denise's driveway, she turned with unexpected fierceness. You know they're going to come after you hard, right? They'll dig up every mistake, every bad arrest, every complaint ever filed against you. They'll try to destroy your reputation, your credibility, your life. Are you ready for that? I've been ready since I pinned on this badge. Every black officer knows we have to be twice as good to be considered half as competent. I've spent 15 years making sure my record's spotless because I knew someday someone would try to use it against me. Let them look. They'll find a captain who solved more cases than anyone in her division, who's mentored dozens of young officers, who's never had a single sustained complaint. They'll find someone they can't destroy. And if they fabricate something, then we'll prove it's fabricated. I'm not afraid of lies, Carla. I'm afraid of silence. I'm afraid of people seeing injustice and doing nothing. I'm afraid of that 11-year-old girl upstairs learning that fighting back doesn't matter. So no, I'm not backing down. I'm going to find every person they've wrongfully arrested. I'm going to expose every corrupt connection. I'm going to drag this whole conspiracy into the light and watch it burn. Carla smiled. There's the Denise Carter I know. The one who scared our civil procedure professor by arguing 3 Supreme Court cases from memory. I was insufferable in law school. You were brilliant. You still are. Now go get some sleep. Tomorrow we start burning empires. Denise watched her drive away, then entered her house with her service weapon drawn. Cleared every room like she was taught. Checked every window, every lock, every shadow. Set her alarm. Triple-checked it. Sat at her kitchen table with her laptop and a pot of coffee she'd brewed despite the late hour, because sleep could wait. Justice couldn't. She opened her email and started drafting the formal complaint against Officer Raines. Every detail, every violation, every moment of that arrest documented with the precision of someone who'd spent a career building cases that couldn't be dismissed. Then she pulled up the list of 47 names. 47 people who'd been processed through Greenwood Mall's arrest-to-probation pipeline. Started researching each one. Ages, charges, outcomes. Looking for patterns. Looking for someone willing to talk. 3 hours later, she found her. Brittany Washington, 23. Arrested for shoplifting at Greenwood Mall 7 months ago. Claimed she was innocent. Public defender convinced her to take a plea deal, 6 months probation with Summit, $250 monthly fee, plus restitution to the mall for the items she allegedly stole. Items security never recovered. Items that probably never existed. Denise cross-referenced her with news articles. Found one mention in the Metro Herald crime blotter. But more interesting, Brittany had filed a complaint with the Better Business Bureau against Summit Probation 3 months ago. Claimed they were charging excessive fees, threatening her with jail when she couldn't pay, violating her rights. The complaint had been dismissed. But it meant Brittany was already fighting back. Already angry enough to risk consequences. Denise found her address, memorized it, decided she'd visit tomorrow in person with Maya and a camera to document everything. Her phone buzzed at 2 in the morning. Text from an unknown number. Her whole body tensed. But this message was different. Captain Carter, I was arrested at Greenwood Mall 8 months ago for stealing a jacket I never touched. They made me plead guilty. Put me on probation with Summit. I lost my job because I couldn't afford the fees and missed work for their appointments. I lost my apartment. I lost everything. If you're really investigating this, I'll tell you everything. I have nothing left to lose. Marcus Green. Then another message. Different number. I'm a single mother. They arrested me for shoplifting diapers I paid for. Had the receipt in my hand. Didn't matter. They said I could go to trial and risk jail or take probation. I took probation because I have 2 kids who need me. Now I owe Summit $3,000 I don't have, and they're threatening to violate me. Please help. Shanice Bell. Then another, and another, and another. By dawn, Denise had 17 messages from people who'd seen the viral video, who'd recognized their own nightmare in her story, who were ready to speak up because a police captain had shown them that speaking up was possible. 17 witnesses. 17 stories of systematic abuse. 17 pieces of evidence that would bury Greenwood properties and everyone connected to them. Denise forwarded every message to Carla with a simple note. We're not fighting alone anymore. Then she texted Maya. Time to break the story. I have witnesses ready to talk. You ready to publish? The response came immediately. I've been ready since I watched them handcuff my sister. Let's destroy them. Denise stood at her kitchen window watching the sun rise over a city that didn't know it was about to change. Didn't know that 17 voices were about to become a chorus. Didn't know that one viral video had lit a fuse that would burn through corruption, destroy careers, and prove that justice, real justice, was still possible when people refused to be silent. She thought about Jasmine sleeping peacefully in her mother's house, protected by good cops who believed in their oath. Thought about every black child who deserved to shop without being suspected, walk without being threatened, exist without being criminalized. Thought about the anonymous voice on the phone who'd told her to walk away. And smiled, because Captain Denise Carter had spent 15 years learning how to fight. And this fight, this war against systematic injustice, against corruption, dressed as law enforcement against people who profited from criminalizing the vulnerable. This was the fight she was born for. They wanted her to walk away. Instead, she was walking straight into the fire. And she was bringing an army with her. The coffee shop where Denise met Brittany Washington at 9 that morning looked nothing like a place where conspiracies got exposed. Just another corner cafe with chipped tables and weak fluorescent lighting, the kind of spot where people disappeared into laptops and ignored the world. Perfect. Brittany arrived 10 minutes late, nervous energy radiating off her like heat. 23, but looked younger with her hair pulled back tight and eyes that had seen too much too fast. She sat down across from Denise and Maya without ordering anything. I can't afford coffee, she said bluntly. Summit took my last paycheck for supervision fees. So let's just get to it. Maya set her phone on the table, recording app already running. I'm Maya Lopez, Metro Herald. Everything you say is on the record unless you tell me otherwise. Captain Carter is here as an investigator, not as law enforcement. We're building a case against Greenwood Mall and Summit Probation. We need your story. My story's simple. They destroyed my life over a scarf I never touched. Tell us everything, Denise said. Start from the beginning. Brittany took a breath that shook. 7 months ago, I went to Greenwood Mall to buy interview clothes. I had a job offer. Good job, insurance company, salary and benefits. Real future. You know, I was in Nouveau Boutique trying on blazers when the manager started following me. White lady looked at me like I was there to rob the place. Patricia Holloway. Yeah, her. She watched me the whole time, made these comments about how expensive everything was. Like she was warning me I couldn't afford it. I ignored her, found a blazer I liked, took it to the register, paid with my debit card, got my receipt, started walking out. And then security grabbed me before I made it to the parking lot, said I'd stolen a scarf. I told them I didn't take any scarf, never even looked at the scarves. They searched my bags, nothing. Searched my car, nothing. I showed them my receipt, proving I'd only bought the blazer. Didn't matter. That manager Patricia, she kept insisting she'd watched me take it, said I must have hidden it somewhere. Maya leaned forward. Did they check security footage? Said the cameras were broken. Same thing they told you, right? Captain Camera's always broken when they need evidence, always working when they want to watch us. Denise felt the familiar burn in her chest. What happened next? They called the cops. Officer showed up, older white guy, didn't even ask my side. Just believed Patricia immediately. Arrested me right there in the parking lot. Handcuffs, patrol car, the whole thing. I was crying, begging them to just check the footage from other cameras, check the register records, anything. Nobody cared. Do you remember the officer's name? Rains. Officer Rains. Treated me like I was a criminal mastermind over a scarf that didn't exist. Took me downtown, processed me, put me in holding for 6 hours before my public defender showed up. The same officer, the same pattern. Denise made a note. Tell me about the public defender. Young guy looked exhausted. Said his name was Davidson. Had like 5 minutes to talk to me before arraignment. Told me the DA was offering a deal. Pled guilty to misdemeanor theft. 6 months probation, $250 a month in fees, plus $500 restitution to the store. For a scarf you didn't steal. For a scarf that never existed. I told Davidson I was innocent, wanted to fight it. He said if I went to trial and lost, I'd get jail time. Said juries don't believe young black women. Said the store manager's testimony plus the officer's arrest report would be enough to convict me. Said probation was the safe choice. Maya's jaw tightened. So you took the deal? I took the deal because I was terrified. Because I had that job offer starting in 2 weeks and couldn't risk jail. Because everyone in that courtroom, the judge, the DA, the bailiff, they all looked at me like I was guilty and we were just going through motions. So yeah, I said the words. Said I took the scarf. Said I was sorry. Sold my soul to avoid jail. And then Summit Probation took over. Summit took over and made my life hell. First month fees were $250 like they'd promised. But then they added on a drug testing fee, $50. Said it was mandatory, even though my charge had nothing to do with drugs. Added a GPS monitoring fee, $75. Said all probationers had to be monitored. Added a supervision surcharge, another $30. By month 2, I was paying $405. Denise did the math. That's more than most people's car payments. It was more than my rent. I had the insurance job by then, but I was bringing home maybe $1,900 a month after taxes. Rent was $800 car payment, $300 insurance, food, utilities. I couldn't afford Summit's fees and survive. So I asked my probation officer, this guy named Derek Morris, if we could work out a payment plan. What did he say? Brittany's voice went flat. He said if I missed a payment, he'd file a violation and I'd go to jail. Said the judge didn't care about my financial problems. Said I should have thought about that before I committed a crime. So I started choosing Pay Summit or pay rent. Pay Summit or buy groceries. I was eating ramen every day, sleeping on friends' couches, when I got evicted, destroying myself to pay for probation over a crime I didn't commit. Maya's pen flew across her notebook. Did you try to get a lawyer? Appeal the conviction? With what money I was broke, homeless, desperate, and then Summit started adding more fees. Missed an appointment because my car broke down. That's a violation fee, another $100. Couldn't afford the GPS monitor, 1 month violation fee, another $100. By month 5, I owed them $3,200 total, and I'd already paid them almost $2,000. The math didn't make sense, but Morris said I'd accrued late fees, violation fees, administrative fees. Said if I didn't pay the full amount by the end of my probation, they'd extend my probation until I did. They were creating a debt cycle you could never escape. Exactly. And when I finally broke down and asked how other people managed, Morris just smiled and said most people had family to help. Like it was my fault for being poor. Like poverty was the real crime. Denise watched Brittany's hands shake as she spoke. Watched the trauma replay across her face. This was what they'd tried to do to her. Tried and failed. Because she had a badge, had resources, had power. But Brittany had nothing except the truth, and nobody had cared. Where are you now with Summit? Finished my probation last month. Paid every penny, even though it destroyed me. Lost my job because I kept missing work for Summit appointments. Lost my apartment. Lost my savings. I'm living with my grandmother now, working fast food for minimum wage, trying to rebuild a life they demolished. All because Patricia Holloway decided I looked like a thief. Maya set down her pen. Brittany, I'm going to ask you something hard. Are you willing to go public with this? On camera name, attached, full story told. Because if we're going to stop them, we need people to see what they've done. We need faces and names and stories that can't be ignored. Will it matter? Will anyone care? Captain Carter's arrest has 3 million views, Maya said. The public's paying attention. But they need to understand it's not just one incident. They need to see the pattern. You could help show them. Brittany looked at Denise. You're really going after them? After all of them? The mall, the probation company, the cops? I'm going to burn it all down, Denise said quietly. But I need ammunition. I need proof. I need people willing to stand up and say this happened to me and it was wrong. You'd be the first. There'll be others, but you'd be leading the charge. That's not easy. They'll come after you. They'll try to discredit you, dig up your past, make you regret speaking up. Are you strong enough for that? Captain, they already took everything. What else can they do to me? A lot. But I'll be there to make sure they don't. Brittany was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, let's do it. Let's tell my story and watch these people lose everything like I did. They spent the next hour documenting everything. Maya asked questions, took notes, recorded details that would form the backbone of her exposé. Denise pulled up police records on her laptop, showed Brittany her own arrest report full of lies about her being hostile and aggressive, about attempting to flee, about having no receipt. None of it true, all of it designed to justify an unjustifiable arrest. Officer Raines wrote this? Brittany stared at the screen. This is fiction. I never raised my voice, never moved toward my car. I was crying the whole time. He falsified the report to protect himself and them all. Probably did the same in dozens of cases. We need to find those cases, Maya said. Every false report, every manufactured charge. If we can show a pattern. We have 17 people ready to talk, Denise said. By end of day, it'll be more. I'm meeting Marcus Green at noon, Shanice Bell at 2. Carla's interviewing 5 more this afternoon. We're building an army of witnesses. Her phone buzzed. Text from Commissioner Williams. Turn on the news. Now. Denise pulled up the local news stream on her laptop. The anchor's face filled the screen, serious and concerned. Breaking news in the Denise Carter arrest controversy. Captain Marcus Webb, the supervising officer who oversees the precinct that includes Greenwood Mall, held a press conference this morning addressing allegations of systemic racial profiling. Let's go to that footage now. The screen cut to Webb at a podium looking somber and authoritative. Denise's stomach turned. "I want to address the unfortunate incident involving Captain Denise Carter," Webb began. "First, let me be clear. Officer Rains made an honest mistake. He responded to a shoplifting call, encountered a subject who was refusing to cooperate with security, and made a judgment call to detain her. When he discovered she was a fellow officer, he immediately released her. This was not racial profiling. This was not systemic bias. This was a miscommunication that escalated unnecessarily." "Liar," Denise whispered. Webb continued. "I've reviewed Officer Rains' record extensively. He's a decorated officer with 22 years of service and commendations for bravery. To suggest he's racist or corrupt is offensive and undermines the hard work of good officers throughout this department. Yes, Captain Carter was subjected to an unfortunate experience. But to extrapolate from one incident that there's some vast conspiracy, that's irresponsible and frankly dangerous." Maya slammed her laptop closed. "He's getting ahead of the story, controlling the narrative before we can publish. He's protecting his investment," Denise said. "He sits on Greenwood's board. Every arrest, every probationer he profits. He's not defending Rains. He's defending his bank account." The news anchor returned. Captain Webb also announced that Officer Rains has been cleared of any wrongdoing by an internal review and will return to duty next week. Captain Carter herself has been placed on administrative leave pending a fitness for duty evaluation. The words hit like a punch. "What?" Denise grabbed her phone, called the commissioner. He answered on the first ring. "I tried to stop it," he said before she could speak. "The mayor called an emergency meeting this morning. Webb was there with his union rep and a lawyer. They're claiming you're experiencing trauma from the incident and need psychological evaluation before you can return to duty. That's retaliation. That's witness intimidation. I know, but the mayor's backing Webb. Says it's for your own good, says the department cares about officer wellness. Says it's standard protocol after a traumatic event. Standard protocol is optional. They're forcing this to silence me. They're forcing it because you're dangerous to them, because 17 witnesses scared them, because they know you're building a case they can't defend against. So they're trying to bench you before you can strike." Denise felt rage crystallize into cold clarity. "When's the evaluation?" "Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Department Psychologist Dr. Raymond Foster." "Foster." "He's on the department payroll. He'll say whatever they tell him to say." "Probably, which is why you need to be strategic. Go to the evaluation. Answer his questions carefully. Don't give him ammunition. And Denise, they're going to ask about your mental state, your judgment whether you're fit to carry a weapon. They're going to try to paint you as unstable. Because nothing says unstable like a black woman demanding justice." "Exactly. So be calm. Be measured. Be the captain who's solved 200 cases and never had a sustained complaint. Show them they can't break you." She hung up, looked at Maya and Brittany, both watching her with expressions of fury and solidarity. "They're trying to bench me," Denise said. "Psych evaluation tomorrow. If I fail, I lose my badge, my authority, my credibility, everything I've built." "You won't fail," Maya said fiercely. "You're the most mentally stable person I know. You've been fighting this system your whole career. They picked the wrong woman to try to break. But in the meantime, Webb controls the narrative. He's already on TV calling this a misunderstanding. By tomorrow, everyone will believe him. We'll look like conspiracy theorists with an agenda." Brittany spoke up quietly. "Then don't wait for tomorrow. Publish the story today, right now, before they can spin it anymore." Maya shook her head. "I need more sources, more documentation. One witness isn't enough." "You have 17 people ready to talk," Brittany interrupted. "Captain Carter said so. Call them. Record their stories today. Tonight. Publish tomorrow morning before her evaluation. Let the world see the truth before Webb can bury it. Denise looked at her sister. Can you do it? Interview 17 people, write a comprehensive expose, fact-check everything, and publish by tomorrow morning. I've pulled all-nighters for smaller stories. This one I'll sleep when it's done. Then do it. Brittany's right. We can't let them control this. We need the truth out there before I walk into that evaluation. Maya was already texting, phone in one hand, laptop opening in the other. I'll need help. Denise, send me all 17 contacts. Carla has 5 more lined up. Get me those names too. I'll divide them up, record everything, compile the data. I'll help, Brittany said. I can make calls, arrange interviews, whatever you need. These people trusted Captain Carter enough to reach out. They'll trust me because I'm one of them. Good. We're going to need... Denise's phone rang. Unknown number again. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Captain Carter. This is Angela Rodriguez. I'm a producer at Channel 7 News. I'd like to talk to you about appearing on our evening broadcast to discuss your arrest. How did you get this number? Your viral video has been viewed 4 million times now. The public's demanding answers. We want to give you a platform to provide them. Denise thought fast. Prime-time interview. Millions watching. The chance to speak directly to the people without Webb or the mayor filtering the message. What's the catch? No catch. Just you, our anchor, and 20 minutes of airtime to tell your story. We go live at 6 p.m. Live as in I can't be edited or controlled. Completely live. What you say is what the public hears. Denise made a decision that would either save her or destroy her. I'll do it, but I'm bringing witnesses. People who've been victimized by the same system that arrested me. You want a story? I'll give you one that'll change this city. Rodriguez hesitated. How many witnesses? As many as will fit in your studio. This isn't just about me. It's about systematic corruption, and the public deserves to see all of it. Okay, 6 p.m., Studio B, bring whoever you want. But Captain, this is going to make powerful people very angry. Good. They should be afraid. She hung up and looked at Maya. Change of plans. We're not waiting for tomorrow. We're going live tonight. Channel 7, 6 p.m. Can you have witnesses ready by then? Maya's eyes lit up with the fierce joy of a journalist who'd just been handed the story of her career. I can have 10 people ready. Maybe more. Then make the calls. Brittany, you're coming with us. You're the first witness. You set the tone. What about you? Brittany asked. What are you going to say? I'm going to tell the truth. And then I'm going to name every name, cite every statistic, and lay out a conspiracy that'll make Webb and his friends wish they'd never touched me. The next 6 hours blurred into organized chaos. Maya made calls while Denise coordinated with Carla on legal strategy. Brittany reached out to other probationers, explained the interview, convinced skeptical victims that speaking up mattered. By 4 p.m., they had 12 confirmed witnesses ready to appear on camera. 12 stories of false arrests. 12 examples of manufactured charges. 12 lives destroyed by a system designed to profit from their suffering. Denise spent the time reviewing every piece of evidence, every data point, every connection between Webb Greenwood Properties and Summit Probation. She built a narrative that was airtight, irrefutable, devastating. The kind of case that ended careers and sent people to prison. At 5:15, they arrived at Channel 7. The producer, Angela Rodriguez, met them in the lobby with wide eyes. You brought an army. I brought the truth. Where do you want us? They were ushered into the studio where the evening anchor James Morrison, no relation to the security guard, waited with the careful neutrality of someone who knew this interview would define his career. The studio filled with witnesses, cameras, nervous energy. Morrison approached Denise. Captain Carter, thank you for doing this. I want you to know I've seen the video. What happened to you was wrong, and I promise you'll get a fair interview tonight. I don't need fair, I need honest. Can you give me that? Absolutely. At 5:55, they went to commercial. The producer counted down. Morrison settled into his anchor chair. Denise sat across from him, and behind them, visible on camera, 12 witnesses sat in silent testimony to everything that was about to be revealed. We're live in 5, 4, 3. The red light came on. Good evening. I'm James Morrison, and this is a Channel 7 special report. Tonight we're speaking with Captain Denise Carter, the Metro Police Department officer whose arrest at Greenwood Mall has sparked national outrage. Captain Carter, thank you for joining us. Thank you for having me. Let's start with the basics. Tell us what happened 3 days ago at Greenwood Mall. Denise looked directly into the camera, spoke clearly, calmly, with the authority of someone who'd spent 15 years earning the right to be believed. 3 days ago, I was racially profiled, falsely accused of shoplifting, and unlawfully arrested by Officer James Raines, based on zero evidence and the uncorroborated testimony of a boutique manager who couldn't describe what I'd allegedly stolen. I was handcuffed, searched, humiliated, and threatened, all because I'm a black woman who refused an illegal search. And you believe this was racially motivated? I know it was racially motivated, because in the past 18 months, Greenwood Mall has filed 127 shoplifting complaints with Metro PD. 94 of those complaints involved black defendants. That's 78% in a city where black residents make up 31% of the population. That's not implicit bias. That's targeting. Morrison leaned forward. Those are striking numbers. But Captain Webb held a press conference this morning suggesting your arrest was an honest mistake, that there's no evidence of systemic profiling. Captain Webb sits on the board of directors for Greenwood Properties, the company that owns the mall. He profits from every arrest made on that property. So his opinion on whether there's systemic profiling is worth exactly nothing. The studio went silent. Morrison's eyes widened. You're saying a police captain has a financial interest in arrests at Greenwood Mall? I'm saying Captain Webb is a board member of Greenwood Properties LLC, which owns both the mall and Summit Probation Services, the private probation company that supervises offenders arrested at that mall. I'm saying there's a direct financial incentive to arrest people, charge them, offer plea deals, and funnel them into a probation system that charges excessive fees and creates debt cycles victims can never escape. I'm saying this is a conspiracy for profit, and it's been happening for over a year. Morrison turned to the camera. That's an extraordinary allegation. Do you have proof? I have corporate records showing Webb's board position. I have data showing the racial disparity in arrests. I have financial records showing Summit Probation collected over $200,000 in fees last year. And I have witnesses. She gestured to the people behind her. 12 people who were falsely arrested at Greenwood Mall, forced into plea deals, and destroyed by Summit Probation. They're here to tell their stories, and America needs to hear them. Morrison looked at the producer, who nodded frantically. This was ratings gold and journalistic dynamite. Then let's hear them. Brittany Washington, you're first. Brittany stepped forward, nervous but determined. And for the next 40 minutes, because there was no way they were cutting this short, not with phones lighting up across the city, not with social media exploding, not with the truth finally being told, 12 people spoke. They spoke about false accusations and broken cameras, about arrests without evidence and public defenders who pressured them into plea deals, about probation fees that spiraled from reasonable to impossible, about jobs lost and homes lost and lives demolished, about a system that saw their skin color and decided they were criminals before they'd done anything wrong. And through it all, Denise sat there providing context, citing statistics, naming names. Webb, Raines, Patricia Holloway, Summit Probation CEO Nathan Cross. The connections between them, the money flowing through shell companies, the conspiracy that had operated in shadows until she dragged it into light. By the time Morrison wrapped the interview, his face was pale and his hands were shaking. Captain Carter, what happens now? Now we demand accountability. I want a federal investigation into Greenwood Properties and Summit Probation. I want Officer Raines fired and charged with filing false reports. I want Captain Webb removed from duty and investigated for corruption. I want every case from Greenwood Mall in the past 18 months reviewed. And I want justice for every person who was arrested, charged, and destroyed by this system. And if you don't get it, then I'll keep fighting until I do, because that's what the badge means. That's what justice means. And I'm not stopping until this entire conspiracy burns to the ground. The interview ended. The studio erupted. Producers shouted into phones. The witnesses hugged each other and cried. Maya grabbed Denise's arm with tears streaming down her face. "You did it. You just declared war on everyone." "Good," Denise said. "Let them come." Her phone exploded with notifications. The commissioner calling, the mayor calling, reporters calling. But one text stood out, sent from an unknown number 30 seconds after she'd named Captain Webb on live television. "You just signed your death warrant." Denise stared at the message, then deleted it without responding. Because she'd spent 15 years preparing for this moment. And whoever thought threats would stop her had already lost. The war had begun. And Captain Denise Carter was done playing defense. The death threat was still glowing on Denise's phone screen when Maya's live stream broke the internet. Channel 7's interview hit 8 million views in 2 hours, crashed their website, and sent shockwaves through every news outlet in the country. By midnight, the story wasn't just local anymore. It was national. It was everything. But Denise wasn't watching the coverage. She was sitting in her living room with Carla and a federal agent named Sarah Kim, who'd shown up unannounced at 11 p.m. with a badge and questions that suggested the FBI had been watching this situation longer than anyone realized. "How long have you known about Summit probation?" Denise asked. Agent Kim set her coffee down carefully. 6 months. We've been investigating private probation companies across the Southeast for predatory practices. Summit pinged our radar because their fee structure was aggressive even by industry standards. But we didn't have enough for a warrant. Didn't have witnesses willing to talk. Most victims are terrified of retaliation. They should be. I got a death threat 30 seconds after naming Captain Webb on television. I know. We're monitoring your communications. That message came from a burner phone purchased with cash in Atlanta 3 days ago. Whoever's behind this planned ahead. Carla leaned forward. So what happens now? Do you arrest Webb? Shut down Summit. Protect the witnesses who went public tonight. We do all of that. But carefully. If we move too fast, the big fish disappear. Captain Webb's a foot soldier, not the general. We need to know who's running this operation at the highest level. You think it goes higher than Webb? Captain Carter's Summit Probation Services collected $200,000 in fees last year from Greenwood Mall cases alone. But we've identified 17 other locations across 3 states where similar operations are running. Same ownership structure, same shell companies, same pattern of targeting minority shoppers. We're looking at a network worth potentially $10 million annually. The number hit like a freight train. Denise had thought they were fighting local corruption. But this was bigger. This was organized crime dressed in business suits. Who owns the network? That's what we're trying to determine. The shell companies trace back to a hedge fund called Sentinel Capital Partners. Their investors are anonymous. Their board members are ghosts. Whoever's behind this built layers of protection. Then tear through the layers. You're the FBI. We're trying, but we need time. And we need you to be very careful. The interview tonight was brave. It was also dangerous. You painted a target on yourself that won't disappear just because we're investigating. I've had targets on me since I pinned on this badge. I'm not backing down now. Agent Kim studied her with the calculating gaze of someone who'd seen too many witnesses recant under pressure. Captain, I've read your file. 15 years of exemplary service. 200 solved cases. Commendations for bravery. You're everything a cop should be. But these people don't care about your record. They care about protecting their money, and they will hurt you to do it. They already threatened my niece. I know. We've arranged protection for your sister's family. Agents are watching the house. But you're more exposed. You're going to that psych evaluation tomorrow morning, and we both know it's designed to destroy your credibility. So I'll pass it. Dr. Raymond Foster has been on the department payroll for 12 years. He's evaluated 47 officers for fitness of duty. Want to guess how many he's cleared when the brass wanted them gone? Denise felt her stomach drop. 0. 3. And all 3 were white male officers with powerful union backing. You're a black female captain who just accused a superior officer of corruption on national television. Foster's going to fail you. The only question is how badly. Then I'll appeal. I'll fight it. While you're suspended without pay, while Webb controls the narrative, while the media tears apart everything you said tonight. Captain, they're going to bury you in bureaucracy while they clean up their mess. By the time you win your appeal, if you win, the evidence will be destroyed, the witnesses will be silenced, and Summit will be operating under a new name in a different state. Carla slammed her hand on the table. So what's your solution? She stays silent, lets them win. My solution is she works with us. Officially. We deputize her as a federal consultant on this investigation. That gives her protection authority and resources. It also means she can skip the psych evaluation entirely because she's on federal assignment. Denise looked at the agent with new understanding. You didn't come here just to warn me. You came to recruit me. I came to offer you a choice. Work within a system that's rigged against you, or work with us to destroy the people who rigged it. Your call. What about my witnesses? The 12 people who went public tonight. Witness protection if they want it. Financial assistance. Legal support. We take care of our people, Captain. And they became our people the moment they spoke up. Denise thought about Brittany, about Marcus Green, about Shanice Bell, with her 2 kids, and $3,000 in debt. Thought about 17 other victims waiting to see if speaking up had been worth it. Thought about every person who'd been chewed up by this machine and spit out broken. I want full access to your investigation. Every document, every lead, every piece of evidence. Done. I want the authority to bring charges when we have enough. We'll coordinate with the U.S. Attorney's Office. You'll be part of that conversation. And I want Captain Webb arrested before he can destroy evidence. Agent Kim smiled. Already have a warrant. We're executing it at 6 a.m., right around the time Dr. Foster would have been declaring you unfit for duty. You had this planned before you came here. I had this planned the moment you named Webb on television. You forced our hand, Captain, made it impossible to wait. So now we move fast, hit hard, and pray we catch them before they run. Denise extended her hand. Then let's get to work. They shook. In that moment, Denise felt something shift. She wasn't alone anymore. Wasn't just one captain fighting a corrupt system. She had the weight of federal law enforcement behind her, had resources and authority, and the power to actually win. Agent Kim pulled out a tablet, brought up surveillance photos. While you were doing your interview, we had teams watching key players. Captain Webb met with Nathan Cross Summit Probation CEO at a downtown restaurant at 7 p.m. They were joined by Judge Harold Morrison and District Attorney Phil Stevens. Morrison's the judge who handled most of the Greenwood Mall cases. Stevens' office prosecuted them. Exactly. And they're all connected. Morrison received a $40,000 campaign donation from Sentinel Capital Partners last year. Stevens got $60,000. Webb's on Greenwood's board. Cross runs Summit. They're all profiting from this system. Carla was taking notes furiously. That's conspiracy. That's racketeering. That's enough to bring RICO charges. If we can prove they knowingly participated in a criminal enterprise, that's where it gets complicated. Webb can claim he didn't know about the false arrests. Morrison can say he trusted the prosecutors. Stevens can say he relied on police reports. They've all got plausible deniability built in. Unless we have proof they knew, Denise said, unless we have communications showing they coordinated, emails, texts, recorded conversations. We have some. Webb's phone records show regular contact with Cross. But we need more. We need the smoking gun that proves this wasn't coincidence, it was conspiracy. Denise's mind raced. What about Patricia Holloway, the boutique manager who accused me? She's the weakest link. She's scared she's exposed, and she's got no legal protection. If we flip her... We've got agents approaching her tomorrow morning, but she's already lawyered up. Attorney called our office this afternoon, said his client has nothing to say. She'll talk if the alternative is prison. She filed a false police report. That's a crime. And if we can prove she did it repeatedly, if we can show she was part of the conspiracy, then she's looking at federal charges and years behind bars. Yeah, we're hoping that math motivates her. Carla stood. I'm filing civil suits tomorrow. Denise against everyone involved. Brittany Washington against the mall summit and the officers. Class action on behalf of all the victims. We're going to bury them in litigation while you build the criminal case. Good. Public pressure and legal pressure. Squeeze them from both sides. Agent Kim's phone buzzed. She read the message, and her expression changed. We've got a problem. Channel 7's investigative team just called. They received an anonymous package 30 minutes ago containing what appears to be fabricated evidence against you, Captain. What kind of evidence? Photos of you meeting with known criminals. Doctored financial records suggesting you accepted bribes. Fake internal affairs complaints alleging excessive force. Someone's building a counter-narrative. Trying to destroy your credibility before the psych evaluation even happens. Denise felt cold fury settle in her bones. Let me guess. The package came with a note suggesting Channel 7 should investigate the real story, that I'm a corrupt cop trying to cover my tracks by attacking innocent people. How did you know? Because that's exactly what I'd do if I was desperate. Discredit the whistleblower. Make the public question everything she said. Turn her from hero to villain. Channel 7's sitting on it for now. They know it's fake. But other outlets might not be so careful. If this hits tomorrow morning, it won't matter because I'll be working for the FBI and Webb will be under arrest. The timing's too convenient. Someone's panicking. Maya spoke up for the first time in minutes. I can help with that. The Herald's running my full investigative piece tomorrow. 6,000 words documenting the conspiracy. Naming names, including interviews with all 12 witnesses, plus 10 more who contacted me after the broadcast. I've got financial records, court documents, everything. If someone tries to smear Denise, we'll flood the zone with truth until their lies drown. When does it publish? 6 a.m. Same time Webb gets arrested. I coordinated with your people, Agent Kim. We're hitting them from all sides at once. Kim nodded approval. Good. Coordinated takedown. News breaks, arrests happen, lawsuits filed. They won't have time to respond before we've seized their records and frozen their accounts. Denise's phone rang. Commissioner Williams. She answered on speaker. Denise, I assume you're watching the news. I'm busy. What's happening? The mayor just announced an emergency city council meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. to address the, quote, serious allegations you made tonight. He's bringing Webb, Morris, and Stevens, everyone you accused. Wants a public hearing to clear their names and restore public trust. That's a mistake. That's panic. They think if they get ahead of this, if they look transparent, the public will believe them over you. They're betting on your psych evaluation destroying your credibility right before the hearing. Then they're about to lose that bet. I won't be at the evaluation. I'll be working with the FBI. Silence. Then, say that again. Agent Sarah Kim is here. Federal investigation into Summit probation and associated corruption. I'm being deputized as a consultant, which means I'm federal jurisdiction now, not departmental. She heard the commissioner laugh genuinely, laugh for the first time since this started. You magnificent woman. You just played them perfectly. They set up the hearing thinking you'd be suspended and discredited. Instead, You'll walk in with federal authority and arrest warrants. This is beautiful. This is justice, sir. Finally. I'll be there tomorrow. 10 a.m. Wouldn't miss it for the world. He hung up. Denise looked at Agent Kim. So what's the play tomorrow? Webb gets arrested at 6 a.m. The Herald publishes at 6. Then what? Then at 7 a.m. we execute search warrants on Summit Probation Headquarters, Greenwood Mall security offices, and Captain Webb's home. We seize computers, files, financial records, everything. At 8, the U.S. Attorney holds a press conference announcing federal charges. At 9, we start interviewing witnesses. And at 10, I walk into that city council meeting with enough evidence to destroy everyone in that room who's dirty. Exactly. We're calling it Operation Clean Sweep. Because when we're done, there won't be a corrupt piece of this system left standing. Carla was grinning now. And I'll be filing motions to vacate every conviction that came out of Greenwood Mall. Every plea deal, every probation sentence, all of it gets reviewed. If we find evidence of false arrests or coerced pleas, those people get their records cleared and compensation for what they suffered. How many cases are we talking about? 47 convictions in 18 months. If even half are overturned, that's millions in potential civil liability. The city's insurance will have to pay. The mall might go bankrupt. Summit definitely will. Denise felt something she hadn't felt in days. Hope. Real hope that the system could be fixed, that justice could win, that all those people who'd been destroyed might actually get their lives back. What about the victims who are still on probation, the ones paying fees right now? Agent Kim checked her notes. 17 people currently under Summit supervision from Greenwood cases. The moment we arrest Cross and seize Summit's operations, those probations are voided. They're free. No more fees, no more supervision, no more debt. 17 people get their lives back tomorrow. At least 17. Once other jurisdictions see what we found, they'll start their own investigations. This could free hundreds of people across multiple states. The magnitude of it hit Denise like a wave. They weren't just fighting for her dignity anymore. They were dismantling a machine that had destroyed countless lives. And tomorrow, that machine would finally break. But her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Another text that made her blood run cold. You think arresting Webb stops this? You think shutting down Summit ends it? This goes higher than you can imagine. Higher than the FBI knows. Walk away tonight or your niece doesn't make it to her 12th birthday. Denise showed Agent Kim the message. The agent's face went hard. That's a direct threat against a minor. Federal crime. We're tracing it now. They mentioned her birthday, her 12th birthday. She's 11 now. Her party's this weekend. How do they know that? Because they've been watching you, probably for weeks, maybe longer. Carla stood abruptly. We need to move Jasmine, tonight, right now. Get her somewhere they can't find her. Already done, Kim said. I made calls while you were talking. Agents are at your sister's house right now extracting the family. They'll be in a safe house by midnight, completely off-grid, armed protection. Nobody gets near them. Maya doesn't know. She's going to panic. Call her, explain, but make it quick. We need you focused tomorrow, not worried about your family. Denise called her sister. Maya answered immediately, voice tight with fear. Dee, there are agents at my door. They're saying we need to leave. Now. What's happening? They threatened Jasmine, specifically, by name. You need to go with the agents, Maya. They'll keep you safe. For how long? Until we arrest everyone involved. Could be days, could be weeks. Jasmine has school. I have work. We have lives. And those lives aren't worth anything if you're dead. Please, Maya, trust me. Go with the agents. Let them protect you. I can't fight this if I'm worried about you. She heard her sister crying, heard Jasmine in the background asking what was wrong, heard the moment Maya made the choice that every mother has to make when danger comes calling. Okay, we'll go. But Denise, you end this. You hear me? You end this, so we can come home. I will. I promise. The call ended. Denise sat back down, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline that had carried her through the interview, through the revelations, through the planning, it was fading now, leaving behind the weight of everything they were fighting. Agent Kim touched her shoulder. "You should rest. Tomorrow's going to be long." "I can't rest. Not while they're out there planning their next move." "Then let me show you something that might help." Kim pulled up a video on her tablet. Security footage from the restaurant where Webb had met with Cross, Morrison, and Stevens. The audio was muffled but readable with subtitles Agent Kim had already generated. Webb was talking agitated. "Can't let this spiral. Carter's got witnesses. She's got data. If the feds get involved—" "The feds won't get involved," Stevens interrupted. "We've got judges. We've got politicians. We've got protection at every level." "Protection doesn't mean anything if she keeps talking. We need to shut her down." Cross leaned in, voice dropping. "I've got people handling it. By tomorrow morning, Captain Carter will have bigger problems than us." "What kind of problems?" "The kind that make her look unstable, unreliable. The kind that make juries doubt everything she says." Judge Morrison spoke carefully. "We're not talking about anything illegal, are we? Because I can't be involved." "You're already involved, Harold," Webb snapped. "You've been signing off on these plea deals for 18 months. You think distance protects you now? We're all in this together. We all sink or swim." The video ended. Denise looked at Agent Kim with grim satisfaction. "That's conspiracy. That's witness intimidation. That's enough. That's everything we need. We recorded this 3 hours ago. The U.S. attorneys already reviewed it. Arrest warrants are issued for all 4 men, plus Nathan Cross for racketeering and fraud, plus Patricia Holloway for filing false reports. 6 arrests, tomorrow at dawn." "What about the people Cross mentioned, the ones handling me?" "We're working on identifying them. Could be more dirty cops. Could be private contractors. Could be organized crime. But whoever they are, they're about to find out that threatening a federal consultant comes with serious consequences." Carla closed her laptop. "I'm going to the office. Filing motions, preparing briefs. By the time you walk into that city council meeting tomorrow, you'll have legal ammunition to match your federal authority." She hugged Denise hard. "You've got this. You've always had this. Now the whole world's going to see it." After Carla left, Denise and Agent Kim spent hours reviewing evidence. Financial records showing money flowing from Sentinel Capital Partners through shell companies to Summit Probation, corporate documents linking Webb to Greenwood Properties, email chains discussing productivity targets for arrests, coded language that became damning when matched with racial disparities in charges filed. By 3 a.m., Denise's eyes were burning and her head was pounding. But she couldn't stop. Couldn't rest while pieces of the puzzle were still missing. "Who owns Sentinel Capital Partners?" she asked for the dozenth time. "That's the key. That's who we really need." "We're close." Forensic accountants traced the money back to a trust based in the Cayman Islands. The trust is managed by a law firm in New York. We've got subpoenas pending, but it takes time. "We don't have time. Tomorrow we arrest 6 people. But if the person at the top walks free, they'll just rebuild somewhere else. Then we keep digging until we find them. This doesn't end tomorrow, Captain. Tomorrow's just the beginning." Denise's phone buzzed. Text from Brittany, Washington. "Can't sleep. Keep thinking about tomorrow. What if they come after me? What if I made a mistake going public?" Denise called her immediately. "Brittany, talk to me. I'm scared. I'm in my grandmother's house and every noise sounds like someone breaking in. What if they hurt me? What if they hurt my grandmother? She's 83, Captain. She can't defend herself." "Where are you exactly?" Brittany gave the address. Agent Kim was already typing arranging protection. "Agents will be there in 15 minutes, Kim said. "Armed security outside the house all night." Denise relayed the information, heard Brittany exhale shakily. "Thank you. I'm sorry for being weak." "You're not weak. You're brave. Do you know how many people wanted to speak up and couldn't? You stood in front of cameras and told the truth, knowing it would make you a target. That's not weakness. That's heroism. I don't feel like a hero. I feel terrified. Good. That means you understand what we're fighting. But here's what you need to remember: you're not alone anymore. You've got federal protection. You've got legal support. You've got me. And tomorrow, when those arrests happen, everyone's going to see that speaking up was the right choice. That justice actually exists if we fight hard enough. You really believe that? I have to, because if I don't, then what's the point of any of this? They talked for another 10 minutes until Brittany's breathing steadied and her fear transformed into something harder. Determination. The same determination that had brought her to that coffee shop this morning, that had put her in front of cameras, that had made her one of the first dominoes to fall in bringing down an empire. After the call ended, Agent Kim looked at Denise with something like awe. You're good at this, at making people feel safe when everything's falling apart. That's what captains do. We hold the line when everyone else is breaking. We make people believe the fight's worth it, even when it feels impossible. Is it worth it? Denise thought about Jasmine hiding in a safe house, about Maya's career and life disrupted, about Brittany terrified in her grandmother's home, about 17 people freed from probation tomorrow and dozens more waiting for justice. Ask me tomorrow, she said, after the arrests, after the city council meeting, after we see if this system can actually change. Then I'll tell you if it was worth it. At 4 a.m., Agent Kim's phone rang. She listened, face growing grim, then hung up. What? Fire at Summit Probation Headquarters. Started 20 minutes ago. Buildings engulfed. Denise's heart sank. Evidence? Gone. Computer servers, file cabinets, financial records, everything we were planning to seize in 3 hours. It's all burning. They knew. Someone tipped them off. Or they've been planning this as a contingency. Either way, we've got a problem. Without those records, we still have Webb's communications. We have the restaurant footage. We have witness testimony. We have enough to arrest them. Maybe not enough to convict without Summit's files, but enough to start. And if their lawyers argue the evidence is circumstantial, if they claim Webb was just a board member who didn't know about the conspiracy, we need documentary proof, Captain. We need the smoking gun. Denise stood, grabbed her coat. Then we get it from the one person who kept copies of everything. The one person who documented every arrest, every plea deal, every dollar collected. Who? Patricia Holloway. She's not a mastermind. She's a middle manager who followed orders and probably kept meticulous records to protect herself. If anyone has backup files, it's her. She'll never cooperate. She will when she understands the alternative. When she realizes Webb's about to throw her under the bus to save himself. When she sees the fire at Summit and knows they're destroying evidence, which means they're destroying witnesses too. She'll talk to save her own skin. Agent Kim grabbed her phone. I'll get a team to her house. We approach her before she hears about the fire, before she has time to destroy anything. I'm coming with you. Captain, you need rest. I need to look Patricia Holloway in the eyes when I tell her that her racism and greed destroyed lives. I need her to see me the woman she tried to destroy, offering her one chance at redemption. That'll break her faster than any interrogation technique. They were out the door in minutes, racing through pre-dawn streets toward Patricia's suburban home in a neighborhood that probably never imagined one of its residents was part of a criminal conspiracy. The irony wasn't lost on Denise. Criminals looked like everyone else. Evil wore nice clothes and lived in nice houses and smiled at neighbors while destroying strangers. They pulled up at 4:40 a.m. Lights were on inside Patricia's house. Either she couldn't sleep or she already knew about the fire. Agent Kim knocked. No answer. Knocked again, louder. The door opened. Patricia stood there in a bathrobe, eyes red from crying, looking 10 years older than she had 3 days ago in that boutique office. "Captain Carter," she whispered. "I was wondering when you'd come." Patricia Holloway stepped aside without being asked, like she'd been expecting this moment, since the second Denise's handcuffs had clicked open. Her living room was pristine and cold, decorated in whites and grays that matched the emotional temperature of a woman who'd built her life on judging others. "Sit down, Ms. Holloway," Agent Kim said, flashing her badge. "FBI. We need to talk." "I know who you are. I've been watching the news. Everyone has." Patricia's voice cracked. "I've gotten 47 death threats since that interview aired. People know where I live, where I work. My daughter won't talk to me. My husband left 2 hours ago with a suitcase. So yes, I know exactly who you are and why you're here." Denise sat across from her, maintained eye contact. "Then you know Summit Probation Headquarters burned down tonight. You know Captain Webb's about to be arrested. You know this entire conspiracy is collapsing. The question is whether you go down with it or you help us catch the people who used you." "Used me, I knew exactly what I was doing." Did you know Webb was profiting from every arrest? Did you know Summit was part of a multi-state operation worth millions? Did you know the people you were feeding into that system included single mothers and college students and working people who lost everything because you pointed and lied? Patricia's hands shook. "I didn't think about it like that." "How did you think about it?" "I thought—" She stopped, swallowed hard. "I thought I was doing my job, protecting the store. Webb told me to report suspicious activity, said shoplifting was cutting into profits, said we needed to be proactive. Proactive meant targeting black shoppers. He never said that explicitly, but he'd show me arrest statistics, tell me which demographics were high risk. He'd praise me when arrests went up, give me bonuses, make me feel like I was valuable, like I was making a difference." Agent Kim leaned forward. "When did you realize it wasn't about shoplifting?" Patricia was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely audible. 3 months ago. I arrested a woman, older black lady, maybe 65. She was shopping for her granddaughter's birthday. Had a receipt for everything in her bag. But Webb told me to call it in anyway. Said she looked suspicious. I hesitated. He got angry. Said if I didn't make my quota, I'd lose my job. So I called the police. Accused her of stealing items she'd paid for. What happened to her? She took a plea deal. 6 months probation with Summit. I saw her again a month later crying outside the mall. She'd lost her job because she couldn't afford Summit's fees and missed work for appointments. She was begging for change to buy food. Patricia's voice broke. She saw me. Recognized me, asked me why. Why I'd lied about her. Why I'd destroyed her life over nothing. I didn't have an answer. I just walked away. Denise felt rage and pity warring in her chest. And you kept doing it. I kept doing it because I was scared, because I had a mortgage and a daughter in college, and Webb made it clear if I didn't cooperate, I'd be the one arrested. He had files on all of us, the managers, the security guards. Said he had evidence of theft fraud, things we'd done wrong. Said if we turned on him, we'd go to prison. So we kept accusing people, kept calling the police, kept feeding the machine. Agent Kim pulled out her tablet. I need you to tell me everything. Names, dates, how the system worked. And I need you to give me any documentation you have. Emails from Webb, quota sheets, lists of people you accused, everything. Why would I do that? Why would I help you destroy myself? Because the alternative is worse, Denise said quietly. Right now you're looking at federal conspiracy charges, filing false police reports, violating civil rights. You could get 20 years, but if you cooperate, if you testify against Webb and everyone above him, the U.S. attorney might offer you a deal. Reduced sentence. Maybe probation instead of prison. Maybe a chance to rebuild your life after you've destroyed so many others. And if I don't cooperate, then you burn with everyone else. And trust me, Ms. Holloway, Webb's not going to protect you. The moment agents arrest him, he'll start making deals. He'll throw you under the bus so fast your head will spin. Your only value to him was as a tool. Now that tool's broken. You're disposable. Patricia stood abruptly, walked to a desk in the corner. pulled out a laptop and a thick folder stuffed with papers, brought them back to the table. I kept copies of everything. Every email Webb sent, every quota sheet, every arrest I made with notes about why. I knew someday this would come back on me. Knew I'd need insurance. She opened the laptop, pulled up files, hundreds of documents, thousands of emails, a complete record of the conspiracy. Agent Kim's eyes widened. This is everything. This is the smoking gun we needed. This is my confession, Patricia said. Because I'm not a monster. I'm just a woman who made terrible choices because I was scared and greedy and didn't want to see the humanity in the people I was hurting. I can't undo what I did, but maybe I can stop it from happening to anyone else. Denise looked at her, this woman who'd tried to destroy her, who'd destroyed countless others, and felt something unexpected. Not forgiveness, never forgiveness, but recognition. Recognition that evil wasn't always intentional. Sometimes it was just weak people making cowardly choices. Sometimes it was ordinary cruelty dressed up as doing your job. How many people did you falsely accuse? Patricia checked her notes. 63, over 18 months. 41 were black. 15 were Hispanic. 7 were white, but looked poor according to Webb's criteria. All of them were innocent. Or at least I had no real evidence they'd stolen anything. I just accused them because Webb told me to meet my numbers. 63 lives. 63 lives I destroyed. I know. I'll have to live with that. No, Denise said firmly. You'll have to make amends for that. You'll testify. You'll help us identify every victim. You'll support their lawsuits and appeals. You'll spend whatever time you have left trying to repair even a fraction of the damage you caused. That's not living with it. That's accountability. Patricia nodded, tears streaming down her face. What happens now? Now you come with us. Voluntarily. We take you into protective custody before anyone realizes you've flipped. We get your testimony recorded, your evidence documented. And then, Agent Kim checked her watch. In 45 minutes, we start arresting everyone you just gave us. They moved fast. Patricia grabbed a bag, threw in clothes and toiletries, left her pristine house knowing she'd probably never return. The FBI would seize it as proceeds of crime. Her husband had already left. Her daughter wouldn't speak to her. Everything she'd built by destroying others was collapsing. Denise watched her lock the door and felt no satisfaction. Just exhaustion. Just the weight of knowing that justice looked like this, messy and painful and incomplete. They'd punished the guilty, but couldn't restore what the innocent had lost. By 5:30 a.m., Patricia was in a federal building giving a videotaped statement to 3 agents and 2 prosecutors. Denise watched through one-way glass as the woman methodically destroyed everyone involved. Named names. Cited dates. Provided documentation for every corrupt act. Maya's article published at 6 a.m., exactly hitting the Herald's website like a bomb. The headline read, "Systematic Racism for Profit. How Greenwood Mall and Metro PD conspired to arrest innocent black shoppers and feed them into predatory probation system." 6,000 words of meticulous journalism backed by data interviews documents. Within minutes, it was trending nationally. At 6:15, FBI tactical teams executed arrest warrants simultaneously. Captain Webb was pulled from his bed in handcuffs. Wright's Reed neighbors watching in shock. Judge Morrison was arrested, leaving his mistress's apartment downtown. D.A. Stevens was taken from his office, stunned and sputtering about immunity. Nathan Cross was arrested at the airport, trying to board a flight to Grand Cayman. Apparently, he'd heard about the Summit fire and decided to run. Only Officer Raines resisted. According to the report Denise received at 6:45, he'd barricaded himself in his house and was refusing to surrender. SWAT was negotiating. "Let me talk to him," Denise said. Agent Kim shook her head. "Bad idea. He's armed and unstable. You're the last person he wants to hear from." "Exactly, which is why I'm the only person who can end this without bloodshed. He knows he's finished, knows his career's over, his freedom's gone. but he still has a choice about how this ends. Let me give him that choice." Kim made a call. 3 minutes later, Denise was on the phone with Rains, his voice shaking with rage and fear. "They sent you. You're the reason this is happening." "No, Sergeant Rains, you're the reason this is happening. You arrested me without evidence, falsified your report, participated in a conspiracy that destroyed lives. Those were your choices." "I was following orders. Webb told me to." "Webb told you to violate people's rights, to arrest innocent citizens, to file false reports. Or did he just tell you to make your numbers, and you decided the easiest targets were black shoppers who wouldn't fight back?" Silence. Then, "It wasn't supposed to be like this. It was just supposed to be easy arrests, easy cases. Nobody was supposed to get hurt." "But they did get hurt. 63 people accused by one manager alone. How many more were accused by others? How many lives destroyed because you wanted easy arrests? I didn't know about the probation scheme. I didn't know Webb was profiting. Would it have mattered if you did? Would you have stopped? Or would you have kept arresting people because it was easier than doing actual police work?" Another long silence. Denise could hear him breathing heavy, could imagine him in his house surrounded by tactical officers knowing there was no way out. "I have a family," he said finally. "A wife, 2 kids. What happens to them? They live with the consequences of your choices, just like the families of everyone you arrested lived with the consequences of their loved ones being destroyed by this system. The difference is, your family will have you eventually. You'll serve your time and come home. The people you hurt, some of them will never recover. So, what do you want? You want me to say, 'I'm sorry'? I want you to surrender. I want you to come out peacefully. I want you to testify against Webb and everyone above him. And yes, I want you to apologize to every single person you wrongfully arrested, but mostly I want you to stop being a coward and face what you've done." She heard something crash, heard him cursing, then crying. "I can't go to prison. I can't." "You can and you will, because that's justice. That's accountability. That's what happens when you betray the badge and the oath and every citizen you swore to protect. Now put down your weapon and walk out that door before you make this worse than it already is." For 30 seconds, nothing. Then she heard a door open, heard tactical officers shouting commands, heard Rains being cuffed and secured. Agent Kim touched her shoulder. "He's in custody. All 6 primary suspects arrested. We're executing search warrants on their homes and offices now. Everything's proceeding exactly as planned." "Good. What time is the city council meeting?" 10 a.m., 3 hours. The mayor doesn't know about the arrests yet. He's about to walk into his big public hearing thinking he's defending his allies, and instead, he'll be explaining why half of them are in federal custody. Denise allowed herself a small smile. "I want to see his face when he finds out." They spent the next 2 hours preparing. Carla arrived with a stack of legal filings, an inch-thick lawsuits, motions appeals, everything needed to start dismantling the damage. Maya sent updates from the Herald's newsroom, where her article was generating thousands of comments and dozens of follow-up questions. Other news outlets were scrambling to catch up, calling the FBI for comment, demanding interviews with the arrested officials. At 9:30, Denise walked into City Hall wearing her captain's uniform for the first time since the arrest. Badge polished, shoulders straight, head high. She'd been suspended, discredited, threatened, but she was still standing, still fighting, still winning. The council chamber was packed. Media filled every seat. Citizens stood in the aisles. Denise saw familiar faces: Brittany Washington, Marcus Green, Shanice Bell. All 12 witnesses from the Channel 7 interview, plus dozens more who'd come forward overnight ready to tell their stories. The mayor sat at the head of the council table, looking smug and confident. His aides whispered to him, probably assuring him this would be fine, would blow over, would be managed. Then Agent Kim walked in with a team of FBI agents. The mayor's face went white. "What's going on? This is a city council meeting, not a federal..." Your Honor, Kim interrupted. I'm Special Agent Sarah Kim with the FBI. I'm here to inform you that as of 6 a.m. this morning, Captain Marcus Webb, Officer James Raines, Judge Harold Morrison, District Attorney Phil Stevens, Nathan Cross, and Patricia Holloway have been arrested on federal charges including racketeering, conspiracy, civil rights violations, and fraud. This meeting is now part of an ongoing federal investigation. I'd advise everyone here to speak very carefully. The chamber erupted. Reporters shouted questions. Council members looked at each other in shock. The mayor's smugness evaporated into panic. This is outrageous. You can't just arrest a sitting judge and district attorney without... We can, when we have videotaped confessions, financial records, and documentary evidence of a conspiracy that's been operating for 18 months under your administration, Mayor Collins. Now, if you'd like to cooperate with our investigation, I suggest you tell us everything you know about Greenwood Properties and their campaign donations to your re-election fund. The mayor's lawyer stood up. My client has nothing to say without immunity. Then your client can stay silent while we proceed. Agent Kim turned to Denise. Captain Carter, you have the floor. Denise stood, walked to the podium, looked out at hundreds of faces, some supportive, some hostile, all waiting to hear what she'd say. 4 days ago, I was arrested in Greenwood Mall for a crime I didn't commit. I was handcuffed, searched, and humiliated because a boutique manager decided I looked like a thief. Because security guards followed me based on my skin color. Because an officer believed a white woman's lie over a black woman's truth. I could have stayed silent. Could have accepted apologies and moved on. But I didn't. Because this wasn't just about me. She gestured to the witnesses sitting in the front rows. Brittany Washington was arrested for stealing a scarf that didn't exist. Marcus Green lost his job and his apartment because he couldn't afford probation fees. Shanice Bell was accused of shoplifting diapers she'd paid for. 63 people were falsely arrested by one manager alone. 94 black defendants out of 127 total arrests in 18 months. This wasn't incompetence. This was a system designed to criminalize black citizens and profit from their suffering. The mayor tried to interrupt. Captain Carter, these are serious allegations, but we need due process. Due process. Denise's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. Where was due process when Brittany was pressured into a false confession? Where was due process when Marcus was threatened with jail if he couldn't pay fees he couldn't afford? Where was due process for any of the people destroyed by this conspiracy, while you collected campaign donations from the same companies, profiting from their destruction? I had no knowledge of Greenwood Properties gave you $100,000 last year. Summit Probation's parent company gave you another $60,000 through a PAC. You attended board meetings where Webb sat on the board. You appointed Morrison to the bench. You chose Stevens as district attorney. Either you knew about the conspiracy and participated, or you were so negligent in your oversight that you allowed it to flourish. Either way, you failed every citizen in this city. The chamber exploded with applause from the victims and their families. The mayor's face went purple. This is a witch hunt. Captain Carter has a personal vendetta. Captain Carter has evidence, Agent Kim said. Hours of videotaped testimony, financial records, emails, documentation of every false arrest, every fabricated charge, every dollar collected through fraud. The U.S. Attorney is reviewing everything right now. If you're clean, Mayor, you have nothing to worry about. But if you're dirty, and we both know you are, you should start thinking about cooperation. Carla stood up. I'm also here to announce that we're filing a class action lawsuit on behalf of every person wrongfully arrested at Greenwood Mall in the past 2 years. We're seeking damages for false arrest, malicious prosecution, violation of civil rights, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. We're going after the Mall Summit Probation, the Metro Police Department, and every individual who participated in this conspiracy. And we're going to win. A council member Denise recognized as someone who'd always been critical of police accountability raised his hand. What about the arrests? Can they be overturned? Every conviction stemming from a Greenwood Mall arrest will be reviewed, Denise said. Anyone who took a plea deal based on fabricated evidence or coerced testimony can appeal. We have attorneys standing by to assist. And anyone currently on probation with Summit as of this morning, those probations are voided. You're free. You owe nothing. The debt dies with the company. 17 people in the audience started crying. Denise saw Shanice Bell hug her children, saw Marcus Green bury his face in his hands, saw people who'd been crushed by an unjust system finally breathing freely. Furthermore, Denise continued, we're recommending that every officer who made arrests at Greenwood Mall be investigated, every report reviewed, every case audited. Because this conspiracy only worked because cops like Officer Raines were willing to arrest people without evidence, because supervisors like Captain Webb were willing to protect them, because the entire chain of command valued conviction rates over justice. The police union representative stood up, face red. You're attacking good officers. You're destroying morale. I'm demanding accountability, Denise shot back. I'm saying the badge doesn't give you permission to violate rights. I'm saying we're supposed to be better than this. And if that destroys morale, if that makes officers uncomfortable, good. They should be uncomfortable. They should question every arrest they make. They should demand evidence before putting someone in handcuffs. That's not attacking good officers. That's defining what good officers actually are. Agent Kim stepped forward again. This concludes the public portion of our investigation. The FBI will be conducting interviews with city officials, police department personnel, and anyone else who may have information about this conspiracy. Cooperation is strongly encouraged. Obstruction will be prosecuted. This meeting is adjourned. The chamber erupted into chaos. Reporters rushed the podium. Council members fled. The mayor was surrounded by lawyers. But Denise just stood there watching justice finally unfold the way it was supposed to. Maya pushed through the crowd, grabbed Denise in a fierce hug. You did it. You actually did it. We did it. Your article, the witnesses, the evidence, it was all of us. No, it was you. You're the one who refused to stay silent. You're the one who turned a personal humiliation into a movement for justice. You're the one who showed everyone that fighting back actually matters. Brittany appeared beside them, eyes wet. Thank you. I don't know how else to say it. Just thank you. I got a call this morning from Summit saying my probation's terminated. I don't owe them anything. I can start over. We all can, Marcus Green said, joining them. I just talked to the insurance company that fired me. They want to rehire me with back pay and an apology. Apparently they're terrified of being sued for discriminatory termination. Denise felt tears threatening and blinked them back. This is just the beginning. The trials will take months. The lawsuits will take years. But we've broken the machine. Now we have to make sure it can't be rebuilt. Commissioner Williams approached, looking 10 years younger. Captain Carter, I have something for you. He handed her an envelope. Inside was a letter on official Metro PD letterhead. Effective immediately, all suspensions and administrative actions against you are rescinded. You're reinstated to full duty with an apology from the department. We're also promoting you to Deputy Commissioner in charge of internal affairs. Someone needs to clean house. Might as well be the person who exposed how dirty it was. Denise stared at the letter. Deputy Commissioner, you've earned it. You've proven you're willing to fight corruption regardless of rank or consequence. That's exactly what we need. What do you say? She thought about Jasmine in a safe house, about Maya's disrupted life, about every sacrifice that had led to this moment. Thought about all the work still ahead, all the reforms needed, all the battles left to fight. I say yes, on one condition. Name it. Officer Chen, the young cop who stood with Raines during my arrest. He saw it was wrong, but didn't have the courage to stop it. I want him transferred to my team. I want to teach him what real policing looks like, what real courage requires. Williams smiled. Done. Report Monday morning. We'll announce your promotion at a press conference. Give the public something positive to celebrate. As he walked away, Denise felt her phone buzz. Text from Agent Kim, Sentinel. Capital Partners ownership traced. You're going to want to see this. Come to Federal Building ASAP. She showed Maya. The person at the top. They found them. Do you want me to come? No, stay here. Cover the aftermath. I'll call you when I know something. Denise left City Hall through a side exit, avoiding the media circus. Drove to the Federal Building, where Agent Kim was waiting with a file folder and an expression that mixed triumph with disgust. Tell me, Denise said. Kim opened the folder, showed her a corporate document that traced Sentinel Capital Partners through 5 shell companies, 3 offshore trusts, and 2 law firms before finally revealing the ultimate owner. Denise read the name, and her blood ran cold. That's impossible. We verified it 3 times. Bank records, tax filings, sworn statements from the law firm that managed the trusts. It's absolutely certain. The name on the document was someone Denise knew, someone she'd worked with, someone she'd trusted. Commissioner Thomas Williams, her mentor, her champion, the man who'd just promoted her to deputy commissioner. He'd been running the entire conspiracy from the beginning. Denise looked at Agent Kim. He was in that chamber. He heard everything. He knows we're closing in. Which means he's going to run, or destroy evidence, or come after me to tie up loose ends. Denise's mind raced. How fast can you get an arrest warrant? We have one, signed 10 minutes ago. We just needed you to identify him positively before we moved. Then move now, before he disappears. Kim made a call. Within seconds, tactical teams were mobilizing. But Denise's phone rang Williams' number. Don't answer, Kim said. If I don't, he'll know we're on to him. Denise answered. Commissioner. Denise. Congratulations again on the promotion. I was thinking we should celebrate. Dinner tonight. Just you and me. We can discuss your new role, strategize about reforms. Sounds good. Where and when? My office. 6 p.m. I'll have champagne waiting. I'll be there. She hung up. Looked at Agent Kim. He's going to kill me. Tonight at 6. In his office where he controls the environment. Then we arrest him before 6. No. We use it. Wire me up. Put agents nearby. Let him think he's won. Let him confess. Then we take him down with everything he's built. That's insane. He's dangerous. Desperate. You'll be alone with a man who's ordered people killed. I'll be alone with a man who underestimated me once already. Let him do it again. Kim studied her. You really are willing to die for this, aren't you? I'm willing to risk dying to make sure justice actually happens. There's a difference. They spent the next hours preparing. Wire concealed under Denise's shirt. Backup team positioned throughout the building. Snipers on rooftops. Every precaution taken. At 5:45, Denise walked into Metro PD headquarters like she'd done 1,000 times. Smiled at the desk sergeant. Took the elevator to the top floor. Knocked on Williams's door. Come in, Captain. Or should I say, Deputy Commissioner? He poured champagne into 2 glasses. Denise noticed his hand was perfectly steady. No nerves, no fear. Just the calm of a predator who'd eliminated threats before. To your future, he said, raising his glass. To justice, she countered. They drank. Denise felt the wire against her ribs recording every word. You did remarkable work this week, Williams said. Exposing Webb, taking down Summit. Brilliant investigative work. Thank you, sir. But you missed something. Did I? He smiled. Set down his glass. You missed the person who made it all possible. The person who built the system, who protected it, who profited from it more than anyone. Tell me about Sentinel Capital Partners Commissioner. His smile widened. So you know. I wondered if the FBI had figured it out yet. Impressive that you put it together so quickly. Why? Why build this? You were a good cop, a good leader. Why destroy innocent people for money? Because the system's broken anyway, he said simply. Because we arrest people every day and nothing changes. Crime continues. Poverty continues. Nothing we do matters, so I decided to at least profit from the futility, to build something that would fund my retirement while cleaning up streets the legal system couldn't. By targeting black citizens. By targeting people who wouldn't fight back, who wouldn't have resources or credibility. Race was just efficiency. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not ashamed either. It was business. 63 lives destroyed by one manager. How many across the whole network? Thousands, across 17 cities, all funding a retirement account worth $40 million. He walked to the window. I built an empire, Denise, and you just destroyed it in 4 days. That's actually impressive, but also unfortunate. For you. You're going to kill me. I'm going to make it look like you killed yourself. Distraught over the stress. Overcome by PTSD from the arrest. It'll be tragic. I'll give a tearful speech about mental health resources for officers, and then I'll retire early, disappear to Grand Cayman, where $40 million is waiting, and live out my days in peace. Except you're already under arrest. Williams turned. What? Denise touched her collar. I've been wearing a wire since I walked in. Every word recorded. FBI's been listening. And in about 30 seconds they're coming through that door. His face transformed from calm to rage. He lunged for his desk drawer where Denise knew he kept a backup weapon. She was faster, pulled her service weapon, trained it on his chest. Don't. You won't shoot me. You're too good a cop. Try me. They stood frozen. 2 officers, 2 philosophies, 2 versions of justice facing each other across a desk that had seen both honor and corruption. The door exploded inward. Tactical agents flooded in. Williams was on the ground in seconds, cuffed rights being read. Agent Kim pulled the wire from Denise's shirt. We got everything. Full confession. He's finished. Denise holstered her weapon, looked down at Williams being dragged to his feet. I trusted you, she said quietly. I believed in you. You were supposed to be one of the good ones. There are no good ones, he spat. Just people who haven't been caught yet. You're wrong. There are officers who wear this badge because they believe in justice, who fight for people instead of exploiting them, who choose integrity over profit every single day. You just stopped being one of them, if you ever were. They took him away. Denise stood in his office surrounded by agents and realized it was over. Really over. Webb Raines, Morrison Stevens, Cross Holloway, and now Williams, all arrested, all facing federal charges, all destroyed by the system they'd tried to corrupt. Her phone rang. Maya. Jasmine wants to talk to you. Her niece's voice came through bright and unbroken. Aunt Dee, the agent said we can come home. Said the bad people are arrested. Is it true? It's true, baby. It's all over. You're safe now. Because of you. Because you fought back. I want to be like you when I grow up. Denise felt tears finally fall. Then be better than me. Be braver. Be kinder. Be the person who stops injustice before it starts. Be the person who builds a world where people like me don't have to fight anymore. I will. I promise. The call ended. Denise walked out of Williams' office, out of the building into evening sunlight that felt like absolution. 4 days ago, she'd been handcuffed in a mall. Tonight, she was deputy commissioner with the power to reform an entire department. But more than that, tonight, 17 people were free from probation. 63 people could appeal their convictions. Thousands across multiple states would see justice because one woman had refused to stay silent. Denise stood on the steps of Metro PD headquarters and looked at the city stretching before her. Imperfect, unjust, broken in 1,000 ways, but fixable. If enough people fought, if enough people spoke up. if enough people refused to accept that this was as good as it gets. A young black girl approached maybe 9 or 10 with her mother. The girl held out her phone showing the viral video of Denise's arrest. "You're Captain Carter," the girl said. "You're a hero." "No, sweetheart. I'm just a cop who did her job. The real heroes are the people who spoke up even when they were scared, the witnesses who testified, the victims who demanded justice. That's heroism." "Can I take a picture with you?" Denise knelt down to the girl's level. Let her mother snap a photo. Saw in the girl's eyes the same fierce determination she'd seen in Jasmine. The next generation was watching, learning, deciding what kind of people they'd become. Denise stood back up, straightened her uniform, touched her badge. She'd fought for this, bled for this, nearly died for this, and she'd do it all again tomorrow if that's what justice required. Because that's what the badge really meant. Not power, not authority, service, sacrifice, standing up when everyone else stays silent. Captain Denise Carter walked toward her car knowing the war wasn't over. There would be trials, appeals, more threats, more battles. But tonight, they'd won. And that was enough to keep fighting for tomorrow.